Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Friday.
Yeah.
I had to turn the fucking camera lighting down again. It was all lit up. I don't know why.
Why is there a red border around it?
I told you this before. It's nothing.
It's nothing? Okay.
Yeah. It's just when you click on it to adjust something. I was adjusting
first time I've seen that.
The brightness. No, you saw it before because you asked me about it.
I fucking forgot.
You asked me the exact... What's that red thing around it? You asked me. And I told you.
Yeah. I've been drinking all day.
Yeah, he went down to the biker bar all day. He was gone forever. I read a whole ass novel in the time that he was gone.
Yeah.
A whole ass novel.
It was good. I bought $15 worth of credits on the jukebox. I got that jukebox app back in there and played like fucking 4 songs. That was it. 5 maybe. A couple of Billy Idol songs. Garbage song. Fucking, what's the one? Crush. That. And a couple of James Bond songs.
Well, there you go.
So it must have been like 5 of them. I still got a lot of credits left, and the shit was cheap, man. They had good well tequila today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Not all the motorcycles I was looking for showed up though. Some did, but not all the regulars.
You said when you sent me that first video, you said it was dead.
Like, yeah, it was dead for a while.
There was nobody there, but I guess some people showed up because you were there for a while.
Yeah, they came in a couple different waves.
Okay.
And Amy was there. Asking for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's about it. That's about all that was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, talking to old guys that still think it's fucking 1991 and shit. Just all kind of crazy.
I know the type.
Yeah, they still think it's 91.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. Let's see. Oh yeah, Zach says R.I.P. Brian Wilson. Yeah, I was surprised you didn't say, or I don't know if you were here on the Wednesday night show.
From AC/DC, right?
No, from the Beach Boys.
From what?
The Beach Boys.
Oh, the Beach Boys, okay.
Yeah.
I think of Brian Johnson.
Yeah, that's
Brian Johnson from AC/DC.
Different people.
Yeah.
Tigglyteen says, Jenny, do you ride? No.
Man, I tried to teach her.
I've ridden on the back of his bike a few times, but it's terrifying.
Yeah.
You know, and he did try to teach me, but I was also I don't know, like I'm too clumsy.
I put her on a little Honda 70.
I would fuck up and crash.
She got stopping and going, but I could tell by her body language that she was never really going to be comfortable with that. And I was like, I could teach her to ride, but she's going to kill herself.
Yeah, that's what I
was
like. I know that. I'm very well. I don't even like to drive a car, honestly. Like I'm a lot better at doing that, but
yeah, Jen doesn't have a good mind-body-machine connection, you know. To survive as long as I've survived, damn near 30 years of riding motorcycles, you have to ride a motorcycle effortlessly without thinking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gotten to situations where I was losing the front end in a turn and got out of it, and I don't even know how I did it. It just happened automatically.
Yeah.
Giving throttle and pulsing brakes and fucking doing shit. Psh, and it happened so fast, my autonomic nervous system did it. And if you were to ask me what it is I actually did to get out of that, I couldn't tell you. My body just reacted the right way to do it.
Well, see, it would just take me too long to get to that point, and by the time I got to that point, I probably would have, like, killed myself. So.
Yeah. You have to make that connection. You have to, first of all, make the connection between mind and body early. And then once you have that mind, body, machine, and you have to have that by the time you're 12.
Yeah, I mean, I did other things, like, you know, I did dance and stuff like that, and acrobatics and whatnot when I was younger.
Okay.
But, I don't know, it just was never something my dad always rode, but...
By the time I was 12, I could ride motocross bicycles, 3-wheelers, and a little, like, 250 dirt bikes, and 150 and 70cc dirt bikes. I could ride all those without really thinking about it. And that's when I learned to shoot too, you know. By the time I was 7 or 8, I could snap shoot fucking little bricks and shit. I'd throw them up, little fucking children's blocks. I could throw them up in the air and snap shoot them with a Remington nylon 66, little 22 that my dad gave me. It was almost like a little BB guns. It's like a little nylon BB gun they used to have, but it was 22. And like some people say that like shooting is a perishable skill, and it is if you've learned it later in life. If you learned that shit by the time you're 10, it's kind of instinctive if you have a good a good variety of stuff. And then if you do military service, and especially if you I was a belt-fed machine gunner, M60, and I know the trajectory of 7.62 just by feel, shooting thousands and thousands of fucking 4-to-1 mixed tracers, just belts of fucking 4-to-1 mix. For me, I just know the arc of 7.62 and 5.56 from seeing so many tracer rounds and lobbing so many of them. For me, it's like squirting a water hose. And I don't really even need sights, that's how 1800s gunfighters and shit did all their shit. They didn't even use sights. They just hit people. They'd be running and they'd hit somebody else running the same way Magic Johnson would fucking throw a basket. There's no reason for sights, really, if you learn early enough and you're good. You have to know where it hits, though. You need experience with the pistol or the rifle that you're shooting. And then once you understand the trajectory, you get that kind of wired in, you can do it without thinking. I've done all kinds of shit with firearms. I don't know how I did it. It just happened. But it just starts with snap shooting, which is you throw up a blick in the air and you shoot it out of the air. Pow! Now some of the trick is in throwing it consistently, but you get kind of, it's like punching into your own fist. You get coordinated. So motorcycles and guns and machines, it's all part of mind-body-machine connection.
Shinatara says, "You look nice, Jen. Thank you very much."
Yeah.
Cami says, Jenny, there's a movie I just watched on YouTube called Welcome Home. It's about 2 Indian teachers who are census takers and they go to the wrong house. I definitely wrote that down, because that sounds like something I would want to watch. I still haven't watched... Remember, our friend at Dollar General sent me a huge list of, a bunch of movies that were on Tubi. Some of them I had seen, but a bunch of them I hadn't. And I was going to try and work my way through them, but... I got about halfway through the first one, and then I ran out of, I had a bunch of other shit I had to do, so I still haven't got to all of them. But eventually I will. Oh, and somebody wanted me to do Demon Witch Child, that Spanish movie from the 70s.
Yeah.
So I might do that one. But the thing about it is that I got a novel from an author, to review. I reviewed one of his other books, 2 Christmases ago. I guess it was Christmas of 2024. It was called Everything is Temporary. It was like a Christmas novella, like a horror novella. And so he sent me his new one to review. And I was done with all my shit today, and Tom was gone. So I was like, well, I might as well just crack this sucker open. Well, metaphorically speaking, because it sent me an ebook. And I read the whole fucking thing. I just had read the whole fucking thing. It was really good. I really liked it. But... I'll put a review of it, because I told him, I said, well, I'll put a review of it up next week. So I wanted to get it kind of done. CB said, I got rid of my bike when I went into a field at 200 miles an hour and woke up with a cow sniffing me.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. That sounds like a scene from, a fucking movie or something.
I've wiped out a bunch. You just get used to it. First one nearly killed me, the real bad one. I was in a coma for a while.
Yeah.
That's what kind of cost me my fucking career in the 101st Airborne Division. Just a few months of getting out. A few months away from getting out, fucking somebody T-boned me in a fucking intersection. I woke up, it was a couple days later.
Yeah.
It happens. But I've also done some of them where you get busted up pretty bad, but you never lose consciousness. You don't even fuck the bike up too bad. I came off, ran into a... we talked about it before. Jen saw that one happen. Well, she came back.
I didn't see it happen. I was at work.
Yeah. Yeah, I fucking hit a cat ran out in front of me, and I ran over the cat. I was pulling in, grabbing a bunch of front brake, because I didn't want to hit the cat, but it just happened so fast, there's no way. People think that you see the cat in the road and you run into it. It's not like that. You're looking into the road, and then down on your right, a cat jumps up in front of you. There's no time. You know what I mean? Fucking, it runs into you more than you run into it. But bike went over on its side, and I was sliding next to the bike. I was probably going about 60, 65 maybe. But I was armored. And it's not a long fall, only a couple feet. And the bike had sliders on it. I had a frame slider, a frame puck. So it busted my right side controls. But I replaced them. They weren't that expensive. and it didn't even scratch the frame up. So I was lucky, you know. I made it back home. Fucking limped it back home. Fucking in like third gear. I limped it home in third gear, I think, because I couldn't change gears. And I was all right. Came in, got online, told everybody what happened, made a little quick video to some guys on a Buell forum I was part of. Told Jen what happened. By the time she came home from work, I was asleep on a bed. And I couldn't move.
Yeah.
I was black and blue, you know. Got so stiff I couldn't move. She had to put a Big Mac on my fucking chest.
I went and bought him a Big Mac.
Feeding me with a Big Mac.
And I pushed it into his mouth.
Yeah.
It's funny in hindsight. It wasn't really funny.
Yeah. Took my clothes off and I was just fucking purple on my whole right side.
I had to like put your pants on you off you because you couldn't
take any of my clothes off. I was so fucking stiff, so sore.
Yeah, I mean, and we have a picture of it somewhere. Like, how fucking, I mean, your whole side was just dark purple.
Yeah, and I went and took a piss and fucking blood came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it stopped. So I was like, I'll be all right.
Yeah, because I'm sitting there going, if that continues, then then you have internal injuries.
No, it was just bruised kidney.
Yeah. But yeah, that was pretty fucked up. He lied to me for a long time about how fast he was going.
Yeah, I told her I was only going like 35.
I mean, I suspected that he was going faster than that.
Going about
he was lying about it. But
going about 65
many
or 70.
years later, he finally said, and I was like, yeah, I figured.
Yeah.
You're a big fat liar about it.
I'm probably going about 65. I wouldn't know. I didn't know. I wasn't looking at the speedometer when it happened, but I was accelerating.
Yeah. Yeah, you were
pretty...
It
was faster than 50.
You were pretty banged up.
It was faster than 50, and it was under 80, so probably about 65.
I still remember sitting that big back on your chest.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, I was fucking starving.
Because he couldn't
I couldn't move it.
Like
I couldn't even move my hands to eat. And it would kill me to take my fucking shirt off. She had to take my shirt off. I couldn't move it. I was like, oh.
I know, and like the whole time, and I felt so bad, and I was just kind of like,
yeah. I fell asleep like that, with my hands like this.
Yeah.
I had a bad road rash on the right side of my body. It was fucking getting hit with a belt sander.
Because that's like the only part of you that's not covered by the armor. It's just because it's kind of open on the side.
Yeah, it was my fucking like side. My love handles got scraped up, and my fucking I think it was like side of my thigh got scraped.
Because it's kind of like it goes. Like
everything else was covered.
Yeah, because chest and back is covered, and your legs are covered. It's got like.
I was wearing Icon Striker field armor and a fucking shirt and a jacket. And the field armor is a fucking armored vest, front and back, and then elbow pads and knee pads with shin guards.
Yeah. And
boots and everything. So all the major points of contact were covered. It'd have been much worse without that armor. Much worse.
Well, yeah, you might not have made it.
It was like I'd been beaten up by a baseball bat.
Yeah, because even with all the armor on, I mean, you still couldn't really move for a few days.
So my whole left side was just black and blue.
Yeah.
And it was deep, down into the fucking muscle.
Yeah, I never seen bruises that deep before. CB said, Jenny, have you read the book The Art of Dying by Mina Cork? I have not, but I'm going to write that down too. Where'd my pen go?
I don't know.
Oh, there it is. It was one of the paper. Sitting there going, okay, I can't be that crazy. I just had it. Camp Guy says, blood from the penis is worse than a scary Toby movie. Tammy says, men always thinking we're so stupid. Yeah, I know. He didn't want to tell me. I get it. But I knew. We always know. We always know. Y'all aren't very good liars. Okay, so I'm going to write that down.
What's funny, with every accident I was in, this including the one that put me in a coma, you worried more about the motorcycle than you did yourself. Once I realized what had happened,
my bike!
First one, I was like, where's my bike? And it's total. I was like, no. And then I'd lose consciousness, and I'd come back not remembered that I had already asked, where's my bike? And I said, no. They said it was kind of funny because they went through
I would think
they went through it because I fucking did that like 12 times. No.
Every time you woke up.
No.
Like you got all bummed out all over again.
Yeah, and then I'd fucking pass out and forget about it. Oh, where am I? You're in the hospital. What happened? You had a motorcycle. Where's my bike?
It's like, are we really going through this again? It's like, I know you have a head injury and everything, but come on. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it was.
I don't remember you ever telling me that.
It was it was an '88 Ninja 600R. So 1988.
Oh man.
600R. Yeah. Which was a fun bike.
CB said, I bled from the dick for a week. I had to wrap tissues around it. Well, shit, man. What the fuck happened? Did we just have a bad sounding accident or something? Or you try to put some wax up in there like that dude on Wang's show?
Yeah.
And then he put that wax in there and then couldn't get it out, like in his urethra. Zach says, speaking of being drunk, I discovered what I hate more than the headache from a hangover, the bloated and gross feeling you get from too much booze. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't usually get headaches from drinking anymore. Mostly the next day I just feel kind of tired.
Yeah, you feel worn out.
Yeah, just kind of worn out. But I don't feel bad necessarily. Like every now and then, depending on how much
it's because you
don't drink. Really, like I feel like slightly nauseated sometimes, but I mean I feel slightly nauseated pretty much all the time, so it's not really that.
When you're asleep drinking, you're not getting real sleep. It's kind of like more like unconsciousness than it is.
Yeah,
you never really feel like you got a good rest.
Yeah. Zach laughed at that I said sounding accident. Well, that was the first part. I mean,
Zach's thinking about sounding.
No,
already?
I said
you
it.
You said it? Okay.
I said it. When CB said about the bleeding dick, I said, what was that, a sounding accident?
Damn. These people don't know what sounding is.
They do.
Only these perverts know what that is.
Well, that's everybody in the chat.
They're all perverts?
Everybody knows what sounding is. I thought, don't they? I mean, I thought everybody here knew what sounding was. Zach says, no, doctor, I fell on this metal tool, I swear. I don't know how it got in there. I was just walking around my house naked and I fell forward and somehow it just went right into my urethra. I told you my sister used to do billing for a GI clinic and she said you would be amazed, like the stuff that got at people's butts. You know what I mean? I think there's a whole website, I don't remember what the name of it is, but I think there's a whole website that has like x-rays of all the stuff that's like that people have stuffed up their butts. And the website had a funny name too. I wish I could remember what it was because I laughed the first time I heard it, but I keep meaning to check it out, but you know what I mean? I think the craziest one was like a toy train. I was like, man, that must have taken a lot of lube. Either that or maybe they put it inside something that was a little bit bigger but smooth, like a tampon. You know what I mean? Where like you push it and then pulled the tube out. I don't know. Because I can't see how that would... Why would you want to put like a fucking toy train up your butt?
I don't know. I don't remember why that dude did that. He never did say.
Of course, I mean, you know, look at fucking Albert Fish. Why would you want to stick fucking pins in your taint? Some people just be that way, I guess. I don't know. Let's see. Wrecked him and nearly killed him. That's a good one. That's an old one, but that's a good one. Yeah, Zach said I was hard and it just went straight in, I swear. I'm sure that doctors and nurses have heard that. Mostly about stuff going in people's butts, I would imagine, but I can imagine like some people that did sounding and stuff and were kind of embarrassed about it. Like they'd go to the hospital and say that it was an accident. I could see it. Camp Guy said they turned off my Pornhub in North Georgia / Tennessee.
They blocked you know.
I heard of that. Yeah, that law just came in. Insert Papa says, seen it done in person, insert snake's tails first because they can't go backwards. Why would you put a snake in your butt? Don't do that to the poor snake. They didn't consent. Let's see. Yeah, Tammy said they're trying to outlaw all porn. Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that. Camp Guy said I get an MRI every year. I've never had one. I mean, that's probably because I don't have any insurance or anything like that, but I don't know. I never go to doctors. I used to. Like I said, when I had insurance. I used to go and get... Because I used to go and get my cholesterol and blood sugar checked just because high cholesterol and high diabetes runs in my family. I just wanted to check and make sure everything was okay with that because I did have high cholesterol at some point, but I got it back down. But... I haven't been in years and years and years. So every time something bad happens or if I feel bad, I'm just kind of like, oh well, I hope it goes away. Pretty much. Shinichara asks, what are we drinking tonight? Well, if you're asking us, it's the same as last week, I think. Vodka and apple juice. And Camp Guy said in Nam they put the sock in to keep the body from leaking out. What do you mean? Like they put a sock in your butt to keep all the fluid from leaking out? Like after somebody dies or something? I'm not sure what I've missed the first part of that conversation. Zach says, porn's been turned off here in Indiana for months. I need to invest in a VPN. Yeah, probably. Everybody invests in VPNs. You probably like make a lot of money. What? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
How much did you fucking drink?
4.
Damn.
At the bar?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4.
Because I was starting to worry because he was gone for such a long time, and I was just kind of
like,
what the fuck are you doing?
Not good.
Yeah.
Just trying to fucking. All right.
Man.
Okay.
He's gonna get rowdy. Probably.
It's all good. No. Just powering up.
He's powering up.
Man, last night, me and Jen were on Amazon Prime. We were looking at what it was that they had, like the new shit that they put up on Amazon Prime. And guess what we found? Fucking Farscape.
Yeah.
I only saw a couple of episodes of Farscape when it came out like in '99. I think we watched 4 episodes of Farscape.
It might have been more than that.
I think it was 4.
Yeah, maybe it was 4. Because they're like almost an hour long. I think.
Yeah, and that series is much better than I remembered it. It had the puppets, like Jim Henson did the puppets, or Jim Henson's son did.
Brian Henson. Yeah.
Brian did all the puppets.
Jim Henson's dead.
And the acting and the storytelling is pretty fucking interesting, and everything about that series was unique, man. I liked it. It did its own thing. It even had a good fucking theme song. Wow. And the fucking CG holds up.
It's actually really good for a sci-fi show from the late 90s, right? 1999.
99, yeah.
I had never seen it. I remember seeing like commercials for it all the time because I watched MST when it was on the Sci-Fi Channel in the early 2000s. Yeah. And so there was always commercials on for Farscape, and it's like it looked kind of good, but I never really watched it.
Yeah.
And Tom's like, "Oh, I watched it. Some of it was really good." Yeah. And then when we were scrolling through Amazon, he's like, "Ooh, they've got all of it."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You want to watch it?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" And I actually kind of started getting into it. I'm not like super. I'm not as much into sci-fi as I am into horror. But I don't know. I actually really liked. All the characters are like really endearing, and
yeah, I
really liked all the puppet work and the costumes, and they're just like really good characters.
Yeah, but it's free on Amazon Prime right now.
I think they have all. It was 4 seasons.
All 4 seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's all 4 seasons.
Yeah, the premise is it's an American astronaut / scientist, and he's going up on the space shuttle, and out of the space shuttle he fucking flies this little probe to do some kind of like high speed test. It was kind of like some kind of a warp drive test, wasn't it?
I thought he was testing like something about slingshotting like around the planet, or like or something like that.
And he did that, and he accidentally opens up a wormhole and goes into another part of the universe, and ends up right near a ship that's being attacked by a bunch of other little ships. And he's like, and the big ship pulls him in. You know, they didn't recognize him. They pulled him in, and when he gets there, he can't understand anything what they're saying. And they're being attacked by these other little ships, and the little robots come and fucking inject something into him, and then a few minutes later he could hear what they're saying. They put in some fucking symbiotic little microscopic things into him that allows him to understand what other people are saying. All these he knows all alien languages now, and it turns out he was on this ship with a bunch of escaped convicts, and they were under the attack of these basically kind of like cops called peacekeepers. And he helped them escape. It was pretty good. And then it's just this ragtag band of people that stole this ship. And they're funny. They got a big fucking warrior dude, kind of like a Chewbacca type dude. This blue chick, she was from Mad Max 2. She back in the, like Road Warrior. She's from there, Australian actress. And then they got little flying dude who's a king. He looks like a little toad. He's fucking hilarious.
He's funny as shit.
Yeah,
and he's always like burping and farting.
Yeah, and then this chick fucking who looks like a human joins up too. She's one of the peacekeepers. She kind of accidentally betrays her own side and gets caught up with him. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's good so far. The white-haired gray chick hasn't showed up yet. I've seen some episodes with her in it. She's pretty good. I think that character was supposed to be kind of just a walk-on character in one of the episodes, but they liked her so much they kept her. She wasn't supposed to be a regular cast member.
Yeah, I just remember that that character being on all the marketing and stuff.
Yeah, she's like one of the favorite characters, yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't even realize, because we're 4 episodes in and they haven't introduced her.
Yeah, she comes in later. I think pretty soon. A couple more episodes, I think.
Yeah, Tammy said, I love Farscape.
Yeah, Farscape.
My son and I used to watch it all the time.
Yeah.
I own the DVDs.
Okay, I've only
Todd
saw...
Dargo was my favorite character. The big dude, you know.
The big guy, yeah. Dargo, yeah. What was his name?
She just said Todd Dargo, I said.
Dargo, yeah. And I think I probably maybe saw 6, 7, 8 episodes. And some of them had the white-haired chick. I forgot what her name is. You'll remember. You probably remember because you know the series real well. But she was good in it too. She moved weird. I can't remember. I think she was also a convict, wasn't she? I don't remember. She thinks she was wanted for something. She was a criminal, some kind of thief or something.
Tammy said her name was Ciarra.
Ciarra, yeah.
Ciarra.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we haven't got to the point of her.
Yeah, and there's nudity in it. There's nudity in it.
Well,
that's pretty
there's
good.
been a butt so far.
Yeah. Yeah, they showed the priest chick. And she was near 50 when she's in it, but she's smoking. She looks good. It's hard to believe.
And that's a great. She's a cool character.
Yeah,
I really
cool.
like her.
Yeah.
She's all fucking chill.
She's chilled out and all zen.
Yeah, she's very zen.
Yeah. And she doesn't care about nudity. She'll take her clothes off. One dude tried to intimidate her. Showed her his dick. He's like, well, I don't care. She just took her clothes off.
She's like, whatever.
It doesn't bother me. Like, yeah.
That was pretty funny.
He's like, I'm not scared of my body.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I think she might be my favorite character. I'm not sure. All the characters are good.
They're all good.
But they're all good. But she might be my
even
favorite.
Even the king.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little...
Well, he's funny. Even though he's on there for, like, comic relief, you can tell. But he's still, like, a pretty...
He's intelligent.
Yeah. And I like that they had that one where they went back to that ghost ship, and that was a ship he'd been tortured on, and he had to go back onto it and, like, face his demons. And,
yeah.
So he got, like, a little more serious on that one.
Yeah. And, you know, we're only, like, in episode 4 or 5 of season 1, so it gets better. It's gonna... You know, I think I saw it about halfway into the season. Although that first episode, I saw that. Yeah. I remembered that one. I didn't see him in sequence. I was just able to catch him every now and then. That was back before, when it was coming out new, you know what I mean? It didn't have DVDs. There was no fucking YouTube or anything. You couldn't watch it on demand. You had to be ready for that bitch when it came on Sci-Fi Channel. Even though they repeated them, but, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I didn't know when it was on, but like I said, every time, because I used to tape MST when it was on back in the 2000s on Sci-Fi, and there was always a bajillion commercials for Farscape, like, on there.
Yeah. So if y'all haven't seen Farscape, man, check that out. It's good. You'll like it.
Cody from the 90s says, Happy Friday, guys. Happy Friday. Random question, but what's y'all's favorite A Haunting episode? I know what Tom's going to say.
Oh, man. It's Haunting in Summerwind.
Haunting in Summerwind is his favorite.
Definitely, yeah.
I think, I don't know. They're all pretty good, but, I don't know. I kind of like the weird one the one that takes place in Thailand, right?
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah,
but
Hungry
I think
Ghosts.
Yeah, Hungry Ghosts. That's the name of it. That's the name of it. And
yeah, that's a good one.
The one with Cody, the kid that says, "Man said he could pee in the
Man
closet."
said I could.
Man said I could.
Yeah, really.
I don't remember what the name of that one was.
The pilot.
Demon Child.
The two pilot episodes were really good, and the first season was really good. It started to kind of. Season 2 was pretty good, but then it started to kind of go downhill. I have a lot of the shit. How many seasons I have? Must have 8, 9 seasons of that shit on DVD.
I think we have 7 seasons on DVD.
Yeah.
And then we own season 8 and maybe season 9 like digitally.
Yeah, on digitally, yeah. Because they won't sell the CDs.
Because they don't sell the DVDs anymore. Yeah. So you just have to buy the season. So I think we bought We might have bought one of the newer seasons too, like 12 or something.
Yeah, and it got cornier as it went.
It did, yeah.
They had a problem finding good cases.
Yeah, they were kind of scraping the bottom.
Yeah,
of the barrel.
but the first 4 seasons are solid. Season 1's really good. And
yeah, that's the one we revisit the most. Those are kind of that has the most classic.
Yeah, if I was want to see one, it would be fucking Summerwind.
Yeah, we've seen that one probably like 100 times.
Even though Summerwind, as presented in that series, is not really exactly what it was like. We had the owner, wasn't that one of the owners of Summerwind?
Well, he didn't own it. He He was in like a group that was trying to get it restored or something.
Okay. But he was from that area, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I thought he was. Yeah. But he knew quite a bit about it. And I don't remember what episode that was. That was one of our early episodes back when we had guests.
And he'd been there like doing ghost hunts a couple of times because he was like in a ghost hunting group.
Yeah. If you actually saw what Summerwind looked like, you'd understand the story a little bit better. That place was fucking fucked up. All right, that's why nobody wanted to work on it. You look at it and you're like, yeah.
Yeah, because in the episode they made it look like kind of like pretty nice, like in pretty decent shape.
Yeah.
Like livable, but in real life it really wasn't.
Yeah. The architecture was all fucked up. It was a mishmash of a bunch of shit. It looks like the construction itself, the quality of construction wasn't that good. The interior was pretty fucking sparse. Low quality looking. It looked like a trailer almost inside of it, like a big trailer. So it wasn't like a mansion like you would think it was. It was a vacation home, a big vacation home, and it looked like it was built on a budget. I think like the priority was just to be big, not necessarily high quality. And the wood looked like it was all rotten.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think I think they used pretty low quality wood and stuff for it. It didn't make it, and it became abandoned, and kids were partying in it and fucking it up and spray painting it, and they claimed that it got struck by lightning and burned down. But other sources online that I looked at says no, it's not what happened. The people that lived in the area got sick of that shit being there, and they went there and burned it down because nobody owned it.
Yeah,
a bank owned it or something. But it was a nuisance. It's a local person, probably somebody who lived near it, probably a neighbor, burn that shit down to fucking stop all the fucking trouble, especially when the ghost hunting and shit started.
CB says Hugh Keen's Burn, aka the Toe Cutter from Mad Max 1979, was in Farscape. Okay, we haven't got to his thing yet. I don't think.
Yeah, he played a Morton Joe.
He played a Morton Joe too in Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah,
but he died before, so they had a different actor play him in Furiosa.
Yeah,
because he had died in the interim.
Yeah, and he was supposed to be younger, so they're not going to use that guy. Probably.
Yeah. Let me see. Zach says, "Did you guys ever check out the YouTube interview with the now adult kid from Demon Child?"
No. Oh no, that sounds good. Send me the link, Zach. Maybe we gotta have him on. We might revive the guest fucking thing. Was there anything, Zach?
For the Demon Child kid.
Was there anything to it?
Why would you hurt the kitty?
Yeah.
He tried to put the kitty.
Yeah. What did you do to the kitty? Wonder what he actually did to the kitty.
Well, in the show, like he tried to put the kitty under the couch cushion and then sit on it.
Sit on it. Yeah.
Which is, you better not fucking do that to my cat. I will snap your neck. I don't care if you're my kid or not. Nobody hurts my kitties. But yeah, so
peeing in the closet. Yeah, so tell us about it, Zach. I didn't know about this. No, I'm interested.
I never know that either.
Yeah,
that's pretty hilarious. So is he kind of like, was he in other stuff, or is he just like still famous because of that? Because like people like us are still talking about. I mean, that is an iconic episode. That kid was just fucking so evil. Cody. Yeah. Like a man said I could. Man says I don't have to listen.
The now adult kid from Demon Child, the actor or the real kid?
Oh, okay. So I don't know. Yeah, Zach said I just sent Tom
the real kid, huh?
Okay. Hyder said, do you ever watch that Skinwalker Ranch series? I don't think we ever did. Because I know we did a show about the Skinwalker Ranch. Was that series out then? I don't think so. Because I know we watched like a documentary about it, but I don't know if... Yeah, I'm not like super into UFO stuff, so it's like
No, Zach said it's the actual kid, not the actor.
Oh, the actual kid, not the actor.
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, I was thinking it was the actor.
Really? No, I was thinking as soon as you said it, I was thinking
like
the kid.
The actual kid.
All right. Yeah. So what's he like on the show? Is he credible, or you think there's anything to it? Because I liked that episode. I didn't really buy it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember exactly all the things that happened in it, but
he mostly just saw things, from what I remember.
Yeah, Cody from the 90s said, I've seen the Demon Child one as well. The family are country as hell. And yeah, it has Cody on it all grown up. I believe they interview him and his dad. Okay. So I'm going to have to look that up then. Yeah, the video that Zach is referring to.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to have to watch that like later. Shae-Nicole says, I think I'm too old for this chat.
I know that his mama...
Why aren't you too old for the chat?
His mama said she saw it. Eventually that she saw it.
Yeah.
She said it was a demon. Her big demon dude.
I don't know, man. It's like every single one of those where the people said, yeah, like, I can believe, like, shit was flying around your house or, like, doors were opening by themselves or something like that. Like, okay, that's fine. That's believable. But then it kind of always ramps up to the fact, and then I saw it and it was a demon, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then you always find out later that it's, like, this super religious family, and it's just kind of like, I'm like,
Then they got to have an exorcist come in.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of always
it's
like...
kind of the same pattern.
Like, I'll believe you up to a point. But the second you start seeing demons and shit, I'm out.
Yeah. Me and my family, we saw some wild shit, but we didn't really see any solid apparition type of things. And there was no theme to it, no story to it. It was just random events over and over again. It would just do things. You know, it was weird.
I think that's kind of why... I think some of the later episodes of A Haunting and also Paranormal Witness started to suffer because it seemed like they were more trying to fit the events into like a movie style narrative, rather than just following what the people said. Because sometimes you could even tell that they were adding shit in there. Yeah. Because it's like they do like a reenactment thing. I'm like, well, the person didn't say that.
Yeah, the person would say one thing and then they would show you something else and you're like, that dude didn't say that.
It's like, unless they said it off camera.
Yeah.
Like they didn't, that's not what they said they saw.
Right.
You know what I mean? So. But, you know, I get they're trying to make it, they just want to make a show. They just want people to watch it. So it's like, they don't really care if it's
Another good one was the one about Mr. Gordy.
Yeah, that was like the pilot. One of the pilots,
Yeah, one of the pilots.
Yeah, that was a good one. Did they made like a movie, like a fictional movie about that, didn't they?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Like a... What the fuck?
What was it?
I don't know.
Sounded like whistling, didn't it?
Or something. It might have been a kid. Like one of the neighbor kids or something. I was like, what the fuck was that noise?
Yeah.
At least I was just going to say I'm probably jinxing it now, but our asshole neighbor hasn't been blaring his stereo.
Yeah.
For a while. It's been like a few weeks since I've heard that rattling the walls. So maybe somebody actually got it through his thick head that he should shut the fuck up. Maybe somebody beat the crap out of him or something. I like to think so. Shut up. We're trying to sleep. It's like not even trying to sleep. It's like you can't even watch TV. Like you're just like watching a movie and all you can hear is boom, 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 boom. And it's like 2 houses down. I'm like,
yeah, Cody called it Haunting in Georgia. Yeah.
Yeah, Haunting in Georgia.
Haunting in Georgia.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, I think that's not on season 1 disc. I got that one on the pilot episodes. I
think you gotta buy those separate because those were like movie length.
Yeah, there were 2 of them. They were like movie length. One of them was the Snedekers in the fucking in the
funeral home.
In the funeral home. That's a good episode.
They did a Paranormal Witness on them too.
And then Haunting in Georgia.
Thank you very much. Hi Desert sent us a super chat. Hi Jen and Tom, what is your favorite paranormal show now?
Really?
I haven't really watched any. We haven't really watched any paranormal ones lately. Not a series.
Yeah. I would still have to say the early Paranormal Witnesses were the early hauntings.
Yeah, are still kind of the best.
Are still kind of the best.
Because sometimes we'll like kind of start watching a new one and it's just like, it's not the same.
And Paranormal Witness was pretty good for a couple of seasons, maybe like the first season. But it went. You see, what happens is somebody comes up with a good show, and they'll make a really good first season, and it's kind of well crafted, and then the team that makes that one will tend to sell it off to another company for a profit, and then that company picks it up to make second and third seasons, but they get cheaper and cheaper as they go. A Haunting has been sold off a couple times. That's why it got kind of crazier and crazier. It started to go more and more fucking bargain basement level as it went.
Where it was like
it got sold off like
Egyptian snake creatures and werewolves. And...
Yeah, they're doing APEP and shit and Egyptian gods and shit. They're just trying to. That's what they're doing now. It's pretty bad. It's but the original owners were good with that series. Now, let the buyer beware. Well, that was weird, wasn't it? You hear that thing? That sounded like whistling, little kids whistling.
I think it's a couple of little kids playing outside. That's what it sounds like. Must be maybe it's that little girl.
The original owners of A Haunting, I believe, were a church group, because there's very much kind of a religious theme to it.
Yeah.
I think it might have been religious. A church might have been behind that. Which, okay, that's fine. The first season was still real good.
Although, funnily enough, in pretty much every episode, when the priest comes out there, he always fucks it up. It always gets worse.
Yeah,
it always gets worse after the priest comes. Don't call the priest. It's just gonna.
Well, I might have been wrong. I might be wrong. It might be that the second owner.
Yeah, I don't really remember like what all the ownership was.
But I think I remember we did a little investigation. It turned out that it was kind of like a church that owned it for a while.
It's just the thing about it, and like I said, I know that maybe people that watch those kind of shows want it to be like super exciting and like a fucking horror movie and stuff. And it's like, look, I love horror movies and everything, but if you're gonna make a real paranormal show, like with real people's accounts that you are presumably supposed to take seriously, it's like it's much creepier when it's like low key. I think that's why the first season of A Haunting, actually the first several seasons of A Haunting were good, because most of the stories were not that outrageous.
Yeah, well, they were kind of like sticking along the parapsychological.
So it was like a lot. Yeah, Cody from the 90s said, I think Dominion Pictures are a Christian company based out of Virginia.
Dominion Pictures.
Yeah, and I don't remember if they did the first seasons or the second seasons. I don't remember. But I just remember seeing that logo like all the time at the end. And I was like, Dominion, that's like a very Christian-y sounding company. But, like I said, and they did have, but they weren't super overt about it, which... Tammy says, I'll tell him when he gets back. If you like Farscape... look into a show called Lex. It was a pretty good show out around the same time.
I remember that,
and it's also on Amazon Prime.
I remember the font and I remember the font and the logo for that.
Yeah,
but I forgot what it was about.
She said it's also sci-fi.
Also sci-fi. They're in space and shit, or what?
I don't know.
Another one to have on there is fucking Babylon 5, which I only saw a few episodes.
They have everything on there.
I didn't really have time to get into it.
Other night I was watching, I took a break from my true crime, which is what I usually watch, but they had all the old Alfred Hitchcock Presents. They had Alfred Hitchcock Presents and the Alfred Hitchcock Hour. And so I was like, shit, man, I haven't seen these since I was a kid. I used to really like those. They have them all kind of mixed up, though, because they have them separated into seasons. But I was watching... the first season, and they were all from 1955, and then all of a sudden, inexplicably, there was a one from the 80s in there, like with John Hurd and Andy Garcia in it, and I'm like, what? And then it went back to 1950s again, but it still said season 1, episode 8, or whatever the fuck it was, and I was just like, okay, like, why did that happen? Like, I watched most of the Ray Bradbury theater on there, too, like, they had all of those, and I hadn't seen those since I was younger, either. So I watched a bunch of those, and I started watching the Alfred Hitchcock ones, but there's, like, a lot of those. There's like, I really, really like all those kind of old horror anthology shows. They have a fuck ton of them on Amazon too. They have like, one called Chillers that I think was hosted by Anthony Perkins, but I think that was all Patricia Highsmith stories. So I kind of want to get into that one of these days too, because I don't think I've ever seen that. And they had a bunch of British ones too. They had Hammer House of Horror, and they had one called Thriller, which is not the same as the one that we had here in the 60s with Boris Karloff. This was a British one from the 70s, I think. They have a bunch of those. So they have like a whole bunch of those. Because ever since I watched Ray Bradbury and like all that kind of stuff, like they show me all of those. So like when I come up, it's just like all like horror anthology shows from the old days, which is fine with me. Let's see. CB says, Zach Baggins makes things 1,000 times worse when he and the Ghost Adventures guys do an investigation. Yeah, and then Hido said, that dude is so annoying. His museum in Las Vegas is worth a visit, though. I'm not sure how legit all his artifacts in there are. Yeah, I never really liked Ghost Adventures. Zach Baggins gets on my last fucking nerve. And he just seems like super douchey.
The worst one was Paranormal University. That was the worst one.
Did we only just watch... We watched maybe half an episode of that, and we're like, no.
Yeah, it's obvious bullshit.
Come on.
And it turned out those guys were frauds.
Well, I think most of them are, because there's just so many fucking ghost hunting shows, and it's like there's only so many shows you can watch with a bunch of douchey dudes walking around a place going, did you hear that? You know what I mean? And putting the fucking night vision goggles on. It's like, okay. I would rather see something like a haunting that was like just somebody talking about their experiences and them doing like reenactments maybe. That's like way scarier to me than like a bunch of idiots wandering around an abandoned building at night. Like trying to psych themselves and be like, hey, I saw something in the corner. Ooh, I feel cold. It's like, shut the fuck up. I hate that. I hate that. It's just not interesting. Not interesting.
The one, what was it? What was with the Zach Baggins ones? What was the name of that series?
Ghost Adventures.
Ghost Adventures. That's the same one. That was the original, right? That was the original paranormal show.
I don't know if it was the original.
What was the first one? I remember the one that was the first one where...
I don't know. But it was certainly...
It was a bunch of that. I heard something.
It was certainly the biggest. Ghost Adventures.
They'd have the cameras set up everywhere. Yeah. There was one episode of that. I saw a bunch of them. I was just kind of like laughing them off, really. There was one episode, though, where they actually got something on video. It was like, what the... That was pretty weird. And it was... They were in a lighthouse out in the middle of the fucking ocean on a little island. And they had a camera set up. They're looking up the fucking shaft of the lighthouse. It had a spiral staircase that went around it. And you could see, look like... But it was night vision camera, so it's real grainy.
Yeah.
You could see that there was like something on one hand railing, and it jumped across and went to the other hand railing and like vanished. It was something. But the thing is it's night vision, and it was a long ways where they tried to blow it up to see what it is, and it was like a couple of pixels.
Yeah.
So it might have been a moth.
Yeah.
You don't know. Anything. You know what I mean? But it coincided with a certain sound that they heard. And it was like a haunted lighthouse. That one was the only one where... I don't remember the name of that series. It was the one that had the fucking... It was like the first one. Like 90s.
Well, CB said Most Haunted was first, then Ghost Adventures, I think, a year later.
It might have been Ghost Adventures.
And then CB said Most Haunted got exposed as fake as fuck.
Yeah, it might have been
like
Ghost
I said,
Adventures.
I think they're all... Because they're, like I said, they're trying to... No matter how much they say that it's like, you know, we're serious ghost investigators and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They want to make it an interesting show. They don't just want it to be, like, boring. So it's like, obviously, they're going to make some... And I wouldn't put it past some of them to rig some shit up. You know? Like, so something exciting
shit
happens.
can get fucking corny. It gets as corny as fucking killing Bigfoot. That is just corny as fuck.
Yeah, and it's like somebody should sue them for that title. It's like, so nobody killed Bigfoot. Y'all didn't even find fucking Bigfoot. No. Much less killing Bigfoot.
They're showing videos of them in a fucking hole in the ground with a fucking tarp over the top of them, jumping up with a shotgun.
Fucking seriously.
It's fucking so stupid.
I just could never bring myself to watch that
One that was good, this is when the paranormal shows started to get really corny. It was when they had the two black guys. It was called Ghost Brothers.
I thought it was 3 of them.
Was it 3 of them? Was it called Ghost Brothers?
Yeah, Ghost Brothers.
Yeah.
That show was great.
That was fucking funny, yeah.
Well, just because the guys weren't douchey.
No, they were just regular black
And they were just like regular dudes, and they were like really funny. Like the chemistry between them was really funny. So they were just like entertaining to watch on their own.
Yeah. They would just get scared over shit. They would like they'd go to a place that was supposed to be haunted, and they weren't trying to prove anything. There wasn't any kind of like there wasn't like a fake scientific basis or anything.
Yeah.
They would just go to these places that were supposed to be haunted, and they'd sit there in the dark by themselves
and freak themselves
out.
Fuck
this, man. Oh, this shit here, man. This shit here, man.
I was like, this. I can get behind this.
Let's get out of here. Yeah. It's just shit like that.
Yeah, they were like
Ghost Brothers.
They were way funnier.
Yeah.
like I said, at least they were entertaining and like
Yeah, there was not
douchey, and they weren't taking it 100% seriously.
Yeah, you could tell they were fucking around. Not really fucking around. It was just that they were just. It wasn't like Ghost Adventures. I think that is the name of the one I'm thinking of, where they're trying to get shit on fucking tape and they're trying to prove that the paranormal exists. They don't even have that. They're not even trying to prove anything. They're just showing these fucking two young black dudes going to these places that are supposedly haunted. They tell them what the whole story is, what's behind this place, and what the legends say, and they're already freaked out. They're like, "Oh, fuck this!"
Yeah, they're like, "I don't want to go in there."
We're gonna go in there. You're gonna sit in there and see if you feel anything.
It's
Okay, I'm gonna see if I feel.
They lock him in a room by himself.
They're just
come get me.
Yeah, they're like, come here and get me this shit. Nah, I'm out of here.
It's pretty awesome.
It's just yeah.
I don't think that's on anymore. That was like years and years ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
But that was the only one I liked because at least that was.
Yeah, that one was funny. Yeah. At least the dudes were charismatic. They had some charismatic guys, you know.
Yeah, like I said, and they weren't taking it.
No, well, they were doing what
like being.
They're basically doing the way I would do it.
Yeah.
Let me go see what it's like. Okay. Yeah. Now but see, they weren't always scared though. They were like, I don't think there's anything here.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything here. These like, some of them were like, yeah, there's definitely something wrong with this place. You know, just depending on. They were getting feelings, you know.
Yeah. Somebody said back here. Wait a minute. High Desert said, I visited the Queen Mary once.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be on it. And
all
I saw was an old ass ship.
Yeah. Queen Mary scared me when I was a little kid. There's this part where you go and you're in a big air pocket underneath the ship and you can see down into the ocean. They got a fake diver down there and you see a big propeller of the ship and shit. And I was just eerie as fuck. It's like being in a cave.
Well, that would creep me out, but that doesn't have anything to do with ghosts. It's just like a creepy. Anything about the ocean creeps me out.
Yeah.
Because I used to have nightmares like that.
Yeah, you're going along a walkway and you can look down into the water and they've isolated part of the ship and you can see the ship's propeller and everything. It is. You know, I was a kid. I was maybe like 12, 13. I was like, No, this is creepy.
Chinatara said, I stayed overnight and nothing ever happened. You could rent a stateroom in Long Beach. Yeah. Then High Desert said, I live out in the desert and I never see anything. Yeah, I've never seen, we've seen, like, poltergeist activity.
Yeah.
Like, shit moving around by itself. But I've never seen, like, apparitions or nothing like that. No ghostly shit.
The Queen Mary, I don't even think it was an active commissioned ship for very long. 15 years, maybe?
I don't know.
I don't think it was... They decommissioned it. It was a fucking luxury liner. And after the Titanic, the demand of those things fucking went away. And also planes happened. You know, people don't realize how much planes, transatlantic flights and shit, how that changed everything, you know. Used to be you had to take a ship.
Yeah.
So all that shit fucking...
And it would take a while.
Went by the wayside, yeah. Wasn't economically viable.
Old Restless said, I thought those ghost shows were always kind of bad. They were.
Mm-hmm.
And for a while, I don't know about now, because I don't really keep up with all of that, but for a while, it seemed like that was all that was fucking on. It's like there's like a million different fucking ghost shows. Like I said, it's like there's a million different true crime shows, too, but it's like at least those are usually pretty interesting and are based on, like, real shit.
Paranormal shows, the first, like, 4 or 5 seasons of A Haunting. Those were pretty good. Were they all legitimate cases? Probably not. Nah. But they were good stories. Like Haunting of Summerwind, I think it's one of the best ones. The way they told that story. Do I think that's the way that story really happened? No. I think they took some license with the story. Like they said, remember how the chick's husband slowly started to get kind of like freaked out by the house and was getting mean to everyone and was walking around by himself and, you know, the ghosts were pestering him, whatever.
When
and
he's
said,
playing the piano in the middle of the night.
Piano. I do it, yeah. Where's that raccoon? And all that kind of shit.
Where's that raccoon? Oh, wait a minute. Where is it? Where is it?
Where is that raccoon?
There he goes, right
there. There it is. I knew it was in here somewhere.
That's wild, man. That's like something out of a movie. That'd make a really good movie.
Yeah.
But then they said, well, then we left him in there, and he was never seen again. Well, what happened with that dude? What exactly? I mean,
Yeah,
he must have had his own car.
Answers.
He must have fucking driven out. They should have tracked that dude down. What happened to him? But you see, they never tracked him down because he probably wouldn't really, if he's still alive, he probably wouldn't have told the same story.
Yeah, maybe
like,
that's
no, I broke up with that bitch. You know, I did something like that.
She crazy.
Yeah, that bitch is crazy.
Seeing ghosts all the time.
But the way they told the story in that episode, that was quite cool, quite compelling. You're thinking, well, if that really happened, there might be something to this case. That's odd. But the more I looked into those kind of cases, the more I realized that the people that owned the haunting show distorted a lot of the story. They kind of told you the story they wanted to tell you. And some of it they just did by showing you stuff, but that's not exactly what the witnesses said. You know?
Well, like I said, they are trying to make an entertaining, creepy show. I mean, that's the reason people watch it.
Now, they weren't all that way. Hungry Ghosts, the one that happened in fucking, or was that Taiwan?
Oh yeah, I think it was. I think I said Thailand.
I think it was Taiwan.
I think it was Taiwan, though. Yeah.
That one sounded pretty interesting, and they had the whole family there to witness that, you know, testifying, and it seems to be the story shown in that episode seems to be the same story that the family was telling.
Yeah.
You know, even the husband, who was kind of skeptical, thought there was something that was going on. He was mostly at work; he didn't see it all, but
isn't that always the way?
Yeah, ghosts coming raping his daughters.
Yeah. No one wants that.
Yeah, it was implied.
No one wants that.
It was implied that angry ghost jumped on that daughter.
Yeah.
And slipped that ghost dick. And who knows how big a ghost dick is? I imagine it could be any size.
Well, yeah, they can make it any size they want, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are the mechanics of a ghost dick?
That shit could be as big as a thermos.
Yeah, it's like
big as a fucking
so
fire
if you're a ghost,
extinguisher.
is your dick the same size as you were when you were alive, or can you like?
When you're a ghost, your dick is as big as you want it to be.
As big as you want it to be.
Yeah.
I don't know, man, because a lot of times when people see the ghosts, they're still wearing the same old ass clothes they wore when they died, and they still kind of look all fucked up, like they got like bullet holes in their head and shit like that. So it's like they can't change that. So why would they be able to change that?
Because when a ghost is gonna put the dick on somebody, it's like a thing of ego.
Okay.
You know, he's gonna have to man up. You know what I mean? So
gotcha.
His 2-inch ass all of a sudden becomes a 2-foot ass. You know, becomes wishful thinking. You know, it's like wish fulfillment. You know?
I guess so. That's how I was like, ooh, I can't wait to become a ghost.
Yeah. Walk around a big old horse dick thing. 26 inches. Pure man meat.
Be dragging the ground.
Pure uncircumcised man meat.
Picking up all the gravel and stuff.
Like that, yeah. Swinging that shit as I'm walking like that, you know. Hey,
like
girls.
a lasso.
How you doing?
Yeah. You could lasso people.
Yeah.
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 With your dick.
You be talking to some chick, you just pull it out like that and just start rubbing the head out. Yeah. Can you hold this for me? Yeah, thank you. You grab a drink and shit.
I'll just be over here.
Yeah. I'll just be over here. Yeah. Keep rubbing. So, yeah.
Oh my God. CB says, on the Dead Files, a lot of male ghosts attack the women sexually. Yeah, someone's got a fetish, it seems. Like whoever's writing the stories for that show. Oh my God. Oh, they're talking about CB says there's some really good paranormal series on Netflix. Yeah, we don't have Netflix anymore. Like, I'll probably sign back up for it eventually.
Yeah, they asked me a question about the haunting in Florida.
Oh yeah, where? Oh yeah, didn't Tom meet the guy from Haunting in Florida? Yeah. That was a pretty decent episode.
Yeah, he's on my friend list.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking Ed Dunham. Yeah, he was an Army Ranger. I met him just by chance. He was here in Florida. Went down. It was in Sanford. I went to the
Ace Hardware.
I'm sitting there, and the dude's helping me find nuts and bolts. I'm building something. I'm looking at him. He goes, "Man, he looks familiar." And fucking, I saw his name tag said Ed, and I went, "You're Ed Dunham from fucking Haunting." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Man, that's so fucking bad." And I got his number and shit and talked to him about it. He didn't want to come on the show though.
No,
I don't
blame him.
He's like, I don't want to talk about that anymore. Fucking, I'm sick of that shit. I was like, all right.
We got a super chat from Papa77. Thank you very
What's up,
much.
Pop?
Happy Friday the 13th. Just curious, Jenny, what serial killer interests you the most and why? Ooh, that's a hard one.
There's a bunch of them, so it's hard.
Yeah, I might have to think about that for a little while. I'm kind of like I'm always interested in like kind of the old school ones, like H.H. Holmes.
Yeah, shit that you didn't really have modern access to them.
Yeah, like so for some reason, like I'm always a lot more fascinated by like old, like almost Victorian era or early 20th century crimes.
It would be interesting to have a film and voice recording of H.H. Holmes. So see him talking and going through an interview.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have told the truth about anything.
No, probably not.
My take on H.H. Holmes is that he would have been kind of a pathological liar, and that you wouldn't be able to get anything out of him.
Yeah, I could see that.
He would just lie and just do whatever he could to hide things, you know. That was a weird dude.
He was a really fucking weird dude.
I got a feeling, though, that Holmes was more into boys than he was girls.
Yeah. Although he seemed an equal opportunity.
Yeah, he didn't go out of his way to get his hands on little girls, though, and he did with little boys. And the women, I think he just wanted their skeletons. I don't think there was sex involved with that. I think because he kept that little boy around. Yeah. Remember, there was one of them where he actually had as a little boyfriend. I don't think he killed that one though.
I don't remember.
Just that people were very suspicious about this relationship that this little like 10-year-old boy following around. I don't think he killed that boy though.
Papa77 said mine is the Green River Killer. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. That's Gary Ridgway.
Yeah.
I don't really see much into Ridgway. Ridgway was just kind of a weak man, kind of a nerdy, insecure, overcompensating, you know. And here's the thing. My take on Ridgway is that the reason why he was killing all these hookers is because he didn't want to pay them. That's all I think it was. He didn't want to pay them. And once they were dead, he could go back and have sex with them for free. He said so.
Yeah.
So I think he was just kind of like a satyr, you know what I mean? He kind of had sex addiction problem. And if he could have just got it for free constantly, he probably wouldn't have killed any of them. I think he was just killing them so he could get free sex.
Camp Guy says Maury Travis or Joe Ball, the Alligator Man. I've been wanting to do shows about both of those guys for a while.
Which one was that? Alligator Man?
It's like, but I've been putting in the poll and it never went. I think the Alligator Man might be in the poll that came out today or is coming out next week. I'm not really sure. CB said, Jenny, what ghost movie scared you the most when you first saw it? Ooh. When I was little, not little, I was probably 9 or 10. The first time I saw The Shining, which is technically like a ghost story, that fucking freaked me out. Weirdly, not exactly a ghost movie. I guess it kind of is. The first time I saw the American version of The Ring, like in the 90s, that fucking scared the crap out of me. I don't even know why. It's like, it's just kind of, it's a good movie. I mean, I think that's the only remake of an Asian horror film that I thought was better than the original, because normally like the Asian one is a lot better than the American remake, but I actually liked the American one better than the Japanese one. But there was something about that one that just like freaked me out. Even when I was a kid, the first time I saw the Amityville Horror, like that scared me. It's not scary at all now, but it scared me when I was younger, when I was like 8 or whatever I saw it, you know what I mean? So anything like that. But really, other than that, these movies don't really scare me that much anymore, obviously, because I'm old and jaded now. DVD Dragon said H.H. Holmes needed a reality TV real estate show.
Yeah.
Oh my god, some sick motherfucker should do that. Like, have somebody dress up as H.H. Holmes and he's like fucking... he could do like a home restoration show, like showing you how to make a murder castle. Shinatara says, did they ever find out who Jack the Ripper was?
No.
No, they still don't know.
No.
I don't think they'll ever be able to prove it.
It's too old.
I mean, there's you know, there's some theories, and some of them are pretty credible, but regardless, I don't think anyone's ever. Like I said, they're not going to be able to prove it ever.
Even the from hell letter and the kidney and shit, they don't even really. They can't even prove that kidney was a human kidney. That might have been a sheep or calf. That might a sheep or pig kidney because you could get a kidney from any butcher shop. You know, but it's often said in some of these movies and shows about Jack the Ripper that he sent one of the victims' kidneys to the police.
Yeah, and then he said he ate the other one.
Then he ate the other one. There's no proof of that. That kidney might have been a sheep's kidney or a pork kidney. You know, but in those days, law enforcement didn't really have good medical training, and there was no DNA, so you couldn't really prove that was human.
CB said, didn't BTK have sex with victims after they were dead too?
I don't think so.
Don't think BTK ever did. He for sure raped them while they were alive. And the first kill that they know about, which was like a family, he didn't rape any of them, but he jerked off on the little girl.
That's what I was going to say, yeah, as she was dead, hanging.
Like when she was hanging.
Yeah, here's the thing.
In the basement.
Based on that and other things that he said, I think BTK was more into himself than he was the victim.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think and basically the way he wrote and everything, everything Jenny says about his book and everything, he was like auto-erotica man, where he just jerked off on things. He was into himself, I think, more than anything else.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think he was killing and strangling those women and stuff, you know, binding them up and shit. Maybe he had a little bit of sex with them, but he probably was more into his own hand and shit, and himself, because he would dress up in women's underwear and take photographs of himself down inside those fucking graves and shit, trying to take pictures of himself, and he'd pretend like he was the victim and shit, which tells me that he was more introverted. He was going into himself. He thought he was hot. That's what he. I don't
Lord
think
knows why.
He wasn't really into these women. They were just a mechanism to make him feel hot about himself, I think.
Yeah.
Because all this shit he talked about is himself and his minotaur and
that's how he saw himself. Yeah. He saw himself as like this big, powerful.
His X factor and
yeah.
And but I think killing the women.
He thought a great deal of himself.
I think killing women was just a way of making himself feel more sexy about himself. Yeah. And then he'd take pictures of them and jerk off to them and shit. But that's all like autoerotica.
Yeah, like it made him feel powerful.
Yeah, yeah.
And he got off on that.
Yeah,
I think. But yeah, he was completely.
Yeah.
I think he really did think everyone else in the world was just like NPCs.
Yeah, and it was all about him.
Yeah, very very narcissistic.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a.
He was the sex object, not the victim.
Yeah. Yeah.
The victim was just like an accessory.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
That's the way. It's my interpretation of what he was doing. Although he didn't say it that way. But no, I think he was turning himself on about himself more than he was turned on by these victims.
Yeah. Papa77 said Green River Killer's my favorite just because I grew up here during his main time he was killing. Yeah, I mean, it's like that part of the world, yeah. High Desert says, I've noticed quite a few serial killers come from German immigrant families, especially Prussian. I wonder what the connection is. Karl Panzram, Ed Gein, a couple of others, I think. Yeah, I don't know.
That was a long time ago, and the immigration patterns were different.
Karl Panzram was, he was something else.
Yeah, I don't think it had anything to do with where they were coming from. Panzram, I think the deciding factor with Panzram was growing up in an orphanage, and there was something about him and what happened to him in that orphanage, and it just kind of, he just hated men, and there was a sexual slant on it. Didn't kill any women, but just very strange, very strange.
Yeah,
and I don't think he saw himself as gay. But he hated men. It's like, and he sexually hated them. Did weird shit, you know. And it was because, you know, he'd been assaulted as a little kid, and this was vengeance. He couldn't have a normal relationship with man nor woman. It was all just about Panzram and his fucking vengeance against men and boys, because he was doing shit to little boys too, throwing them overboard, fucking drowning them, shooting them, raping them too, making them rape each other and then killing them. Just he was a monster. Panzram was probably one of the worst.
Yeah.
He was kind of a dude, kind of like Dean Coral. Although Coral was more about just torture, but similar.
Now, Papa77 said, what victims did BTK rape? I thought he didn't rape any of them. Well, maybe he didn't. Maybe I'm confusing him for somebody else.
I thought he did have sex with him and strangle him. Or maybe he just tortured him and strangled him.
I'd have to look up.
I don't remember.
I don't remember all the details.
And his torture wasn't really the kind of torture, say, like the toolbox murderers, where they're hitting him with hammers and fucking pulling nipples off the pliers and shit. They weren't doing that. He would strangle it. He would put something around their neck and they'd go unconscious, and then he'd let them back, and they'd come back, and he'd do it a couple times. He was doing stuff like that and like bondage. That's not really torture, though. Although he claimed it was torture, I guess.
Although he liked it too.
Yeah.
About Jack the Ripper, Papa77 said, yeah, this was what I was trying to remember. Erin Kosminski is the most likely unsub. Yeah, and to me, that does seem like the most likely culprit. Like I said, they'll probably never prove it.
I forgot which one that was. There were several suspects.
Yeah, I know, but I think he was probably the most...
he was the one that went to the United States afterwards?
I don't remember. But, yeah,
there was one suspect ended up in the United States, and there was a bunch of murders happened in the place where he showed up in the United States that were kind of like Ripper murders. That was one of the ones I remember.
Now, High Desert said, I liked Patricia Cornwall's book, Portrait of a Killer. She claimed Walter Sickert was the killer. It's a good read, but I don't think she proved it. See, I always thought... I mean, Walter Sickert, that was the artist, right? Yeah, I never thought... I thought the case against him was, like, pretty fucking weak. But, I haven't read that book, so I don't know if she came up with some other shit that I haven't heard. But, yeah, I think Kosminski is probably... I don't know, obviously, and I don't think they're ever going to prove it, but I do think that was the most likely suspect.
Papa's saying that he didn't think BTK raped any of them.
Yeah, I know. We just talked about that.
Yeah, maybe he didn't. I have to go back and look.
Yeah, we just talked about that.
Yeah.
Camp guy said Nielsen, that guy in England. Yeah, Dennis Nielsen. That I was kind of got into like a lot of the British serial killers, like the Yorkshire Ripper, like Peter Sutcliffe, and Dennis Nielsen. He was the one that lived up in the apartment on the top floor, and he got caught because like he was flushing like pieces of people like down the toilet.
That in England, yeah.
And it was like blocking up, and everybody. I mean, obviously, like people are like, "Why is my fucking toilet always backed up?"
But Papa, if he wasn't raping any of them, what that indicates is that he couldn't perform. Okay.
Yeah, that's usually what that means.
It's usually what that means. So what he's doing is he's doing that and then jerking it to the memory of it
when no one's around.
When no one's around watching him. Yeah, because they can't perform. They get stage fright.
Yeah. But yeah, I was gonna say something too. Oh, there's another thing too where some serial killers will insert various things into women's vaginas and whatnot, bottles, tire irons, whatever, and that's usually indicates the same thing, that they're impotent, but they still want to penetrate.
Yeah, they can't do it. They can't do it under stress, under pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of them, to say this before earlier on the show, they can have sex, they can rock up, but they can't rock up with anybody else around them.
Right.
And if the woman's awake and around him, then he can't. He feels like he's being watched, so he's got performance anxiety. So they kill him or render him unconscious, which allows him to have sex.
Yeah. Because no one's
around.
Yeah.
No one's watching him.
John Robertson said, hey guys, I wanted to let you guys know I was writing a vampire book and I was inspired by Sinners. I made a cosplay of my main vampire character I'd like to send you as well as the synopsis.
All right.
That would be cool. Yeah, send it to us. The photos aren't professional, but I'd like your opinion. The cosplay was inspired by Remick from Sinners. That sounds really cool, actually. That sounds really cool. Yeah, so send it either to if you're on our Facebook, which you probably are, like, either send it to him or send it to me. And let me see. Now, where was the thing? Oh, Hades said the most Cornwall can prove was that he wrote a Ripper letter to the police, but I think that's it. Which, yeah, and they don't even know if most of those were really written by the killer or... Because you know what happens, like, every time there's a high-profile case like that, there's all kind of cranks that come out.
Cranks, yeah.
So they can't ever prove that that was, like, the real...
I have a feeling...
Look at all the fucking Zodiac letters.
Yeah.
Like, most of those were probably fake, too.
I have a feeling that the Ripper never contacted authorities and that the real Ripper was never a suspect. And he was not some kind of highborn fucking dude or some kind of mystical fucking figure or anybody. He wasn't from the royal family or any of that crap. He wasn't a rich doctor. He was a dude you would never fucking notice when you saw him. A very unassuming, dumpy motherfucker that you would just never suspect. That's why he didn't get caught.
Yeah, I mean, if
You'd
he'd have
never
stood
suspect
out,
him.
then they probably would have caught him.
Yeah, and the chances are, of the women that he killed, the hookers that he killed, he was probably a regular.
Yeah.
That's why they felt safe around him. He'd probably been with them before. All this stuff about him being a butcher, maybe. But in that era, you wouldn't have to be a butcher to know much about anatomy. People cleaned their own animals. He might just come from a farm.
Yeah.
They knew about slaughtering pigs and slaughtering cows and calves and shit like that to get veal. You know, the skill set was different in the late 1800s. So, yeah, that was happening in a rural environment. For all you know, he came out middle of nowhere out in fucking Wales. You know, off a farm. You know. I don't think the dude who actually did it was ever a suspect. And the whole, you know, some of the guys that were suspects were lunatics in and out of asylums and shit. I bet you he never had any contact with police or anything.
Tammy says, who's to say the Ripper was a he? There have been a couple of stories over the year where Jack the Ripper turned out to be a woman.
It was a man. It's a man's
I'm
crime.
pretty sure, I mean, it's possible, but I think it's really unlikely.
That type of crime's committed by men. Women commit crimes, but it's not that. It doesn't have that fucking. It's not like that.
Like I said, when you do have something like that crazy bitch Taylor Shabusiness that we did the show about, that sucked that dude's dick and was like cutting it off at the same time.
Yeah, her boyfriend. It
was just killing like for no reason.
And she thought that shit was hot.
And she just thought it was hot.
And she didn't understand why the cops were upset about it.
Yeah.
She just thought I loved him though.
And they're like,
bitch, you going to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But normally, I mean, the reason that was such a big deal was just because, normally.
It was a woman. But she was a lunatic, though. I mean,
she was a lunatic.
She was so crazy. A lunatic. That bitch was so crazy that she couldn't do that again. A serial killer has to kill 3 before they're a serial killer, which means that they can be a repeat offender. They're organized enough. Taylor wasn't organized enough. She couldn't even hide her own crime.
She didn't even. I don't even think she even planned to do it.
Yeah, she didn't plan to do it. She didn't think it was a crime.
It almost seemed like it kind of like she just thought she just got a dumb idea in her head. It was like, hey, what would happen if
I killed if I continued to strangle him? Because they were playing strangulation games.
Yeah.
And she's like, I want to know what would happen, so I just kept going.
And then she's like, well, now that I've done that, I might as well just suck his dick and cut it off.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Then she cut his head off.
She cut his head off and put it in a bucket.
Yeah. And she was talking about how much she loved that dude.
And then, she just went back to her house like nothing happened.
Like nothing happened. She didn't even hide the body. So.
She's got problems.
That was kind of the way that looked. That looked like something that maybe Jeffrey Dahmer would do some shit like that. But Jeffrey Dahmer had the wherewithal to fucking hide the body so he could do it again.
Yeah.
And Taylor Shabusiness couldn't. So Taylor Shabusiness was not a serial killer.
Yeah, Papa 77 said she was crazy and high as hell.
High as hell and crazy.
That too.
Yeah, and she was not a serial killer. She was a one-time thrill killer. That was what I would call her.
Yeah, like I said, she just
Yeah.
got super high one day and just thought, hey, she
yeah.
had some idea that she thought she was going to try out.
Yeah. But when we're talking about the Ripper, I guarantee you the Ripper was never a suspect. The dude who actually did it, he was a regular, If you saw him, you'd never suspect that was the fucking Ripper. Whoever the Ripper was, I don't think he had any contact with police. All this letters and all this shit. No, I don't think that was him. Those were cranks trying to jump because it was a sensational case, and they had, even back in those days, you had people trying to throw their 2 cents in, and trying to, watch this. I'm gonna pretend like I'm the Ripper, and it had captured the imagination of a lot of famous people in England too. So it was a thing, the Ripper murders.
Yeah, it was a huge deal.
You had rich people talking about it. But I think the dude that did it was a dude kind of like Gary Ridgway. It's going to be a guy like that. Very unassuming. Meek. From an okay background. Probably married. That's one of the reasons why he was never suspected.
Yeah, a surprising amount of serial killers are married, and that's like they
married,
just have this weird...
Meek.
They have this weird double life going on.
Yeah. And then he got a big charge out of that for a while, and then he stopped. And maybe he stopped because they got close to him. So he was like, I'm not going to do it anymore. Or he changed his mind.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not really getting much out of this. I'm going to stop doing this. I'm just going to be a regular married guy. Something like that.
That was just a phase I was going through.
Yeah, it was a phase. Well, they kind of say that.
Yeah.
They kind of say that. They outgrow it. Evidently, when they get to be around 45, 40, they start outgrowing it. And if you notice what's funny is that's around time fucking testosterone levels start to drop in men. So the sex drive starts going, because it's linked with their sex drive. Now, BTK came out, he tried to rock back up in a big final hurrah. I'm a man. I'm the dude. I did it. It's tied in with their fucking sex drive.
Yeah.
And their opinions of themselves sexually. He wanted to get caught in a weird way so he could take credit because he thought that shit was sexy as fuck. He thought he was sexy.
Yeah.
That's the weird shit about this, man. This is sex.
Delusional.
It's sex. They're deluded dudes, and their sex drive, it's their sexual orientation. Their sexual orientation is fucking bizarre. And so it was kind of like what BTK was talking about. He's like, imagine if he was just a regular straight dude. He's like, man, I'm such a good lay. I fucked all these chicks and shit. And nobody knows. You know what I mean? I don't even get credit for being this hot. That's what he's thinking.
Yeah, pretty much. Everybody should know.
Everybody should know how hot I am. Man, I'm sexy. That's exactly what he's thinking. And he goes, well, the cops understand. So he starts talking to the cops and giving them all kinds of information. They're talking about how hot he is. Yeah, he's flirting with the cops.
Yeah.
And then if I sent you a disc, there's no way you could track me, right? You promise, right? Promise.
Not.
Okay, I'm gonna send you a disc. Then they fucking. You lied to me. I'm a fucking cop. I'm trying to catch you. Oh.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, yeah.
Oh my god. Papa77 said the Ripper was only famous because it all happened at the dawn of print news. Newspapers made him famous. Well, yeah, big time. And there was like big salacious fucking... I mean...
It captured the mind of the British
just
audience.
Because,
too.
I mean, there was a lot of horrible murders back then. It wasn't just Jack the Ripper. You know. So, it wasn't unusual, especially in that part of town.
Yeah.
But it was just that the mutilations were so extreme.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of fucked up murders back then.
The mutilations were the way it was because he had privacy.
Yeah.
And he could work quickly and he had a sharp blade. Some of the stuff he did while they were laying on the ground. But you have to understand, you know what I mean? I have a woodsman background. I can field dress a deer. I can gut an entire deer and get all of its internal organs out of it to make it lighter so I can carry it. I could do that in about 5 minutes. You know what I mean? And it's the same procedure. He was probably using less of a procedure to do that to a human. He had cut into animals before. You know what I mean? Probably started with pigs and goats and shit from the farm. He says, I'm gonna cut a piece out. I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna take this with me. You know, shit like that. And he just did it quickly. It wasn't. If you've done it before with animals and stuff, you know what I mean. The field dressed animals are. You're dressing animals for slaughter to package them up into nice little pretty pieces of meat and stuff. It's not. You could do it quickly. So people go, he must have had the skills of a surgeon and he's out there. No, he just worked fast. and he knew where it was because it didn't have flashlight. He reached in there because he took some organs.
Yeah. He took like a uterus and stuff like that.
Yeah, he had thought about it. He knew where it was. He'd had experience for animals through field dressing and stuff and butchering animals, but I don't think he was a butcher. I think he just came from a farm.
Yeah, because like I said, a lot of people.
Yeah.
That were working class had that skill.
Had those skills, yeah. He came from a farm.
Because you kind of had to slaughter your own animals. And
yeah.
Stuff, especially in rural areas.
Yeah, I think he probably came from some rural Wales or fucking North England, something like that, you know. Country boy.
Shinichara says
I'm going to stick to my guns and say he's going to be an offender and a type of guy, a lot like Gary Ridgway. Unassuming, probably married, and probably a regular. Somebody that those girls kind of knew. And everybody else knew the guy. And they didn't suspect him. Because you look at the dude and you're like, him? It was like that. Goofy looking dude. That's probably who it was. It wasn't some fucking dashing motherfucker in a cape with a red lining and a top hat and all that. No.
That's so much more romantic. Man.
Yeah, no.
But I'm sure that's not what he looked like.
Nah.
He probably looked like every other motherfucker walking around.
I think subpar, actually. You know, like a Gary Ridgway. You know, like harmless looking.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of serial killers are harmless looking.
Yeah.
That's why they get away with it for so long. Or not, maybe not harmless looking, but just like nondescript.
Or goofy. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't like have any reason to be afraid of them.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, oh, him? This dude is.
Other than you know, there's exceptions, obviously, like fucking Ed Kemper, who was like, 6'5" or some shit. So he was like this big giant dude. But even he's looked pretty goofy.
Yeah.
But he was a big dude, though.
His MO was a little different, though, too. He
That's
pull
true.
guns on him and fucking he'd kind of take him captive for a while and talk to him and then eventually execute him. I don't even think he sexually assaulted them, did he?
I don't really remember all the details.
I think he just shot him in the back of the head. That one girl, he got her out of the car. I think he shot her in the back of the head, I think.
Shinichara says the one I can't forgive is Myra Hindley. Yeah, the thing about... We did a show about Brady and Hindley.
Yeah, she's a piece of shit.
And, obviously he's a piece of shit too. But I always just kind of wonder if she had never met him, would she have killed anybody? I doubt it.
No.
I don't think so.
But she was a weak-willed person.
Yeah,
and she got into
she just went along with it.
Went along with that. And
that seems to happen a lot in that kind of dynamic.
Yeah, and for some reason that impressed her. She thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, awesome. Let's go.
She was a
rape
piece
and
of shit.
murder little kids.
Yeah, she was a piece of shit.
That's so cool. Fucking yeah.
Yeah, she's a piece of shit.
Yeah, and Camp Guy said Myra Hindley was abused badly as well. She had a terrible upbringing. She did, yeah. And like I said, no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Because a lot of people have those upbringings. They don't do that.
Yeah, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Oops. Ran into the fucking microphone. Ran into the microphone.
Yeah, the whole thing of where, you know what I mean, where it's somebody's nurture, well, they were raised a certain way, and so this is what happened. That's only like one factor. It's got to be more than that, because a lot of other people went through worse, and they don't end up serial killers. Like, Panzram. Panzram came up in the early 1900s, late 1800s, I think, in a orphanage. He was sexually assaulted in the orphanage by boys and staff, and he bullied a lot. And when he got out, he would fucking targeted men of all different ages in a bunch of different ways. But the thing is, though, is that what happened to Panzram, that happened to a lot of guys that came up out of those orphanages. Maybe fucking as many 15, 20% of them might have went through that. And they didn't turn out that way. So it's not just that. It's other factors. I think genetics might play a role. Head injuries. Possibly like substance abuse. There's no telling what these dudes were drinking in certain times because they had shit like wood grain alcohol was floating around out there. Wood grain alcohol did a lot of brain damage on people. They would take medicines that you could buy over the counter that had all kinds of fucked up shit in them. Some of it fucking like serious drugs, but some of it poison, which could fucking seriously hurt you. You could buy radium, which is liquid, like radioactive fucking liquid. They were drinking that and their jaws were falling off. Fucking. When people think of toxic waste and fucking environmental poisoning, they think of fucking high-tech industries. You're absolutely wrong. 1800s, which was low-tech, was fucking highly fucking toxic. The shit that they were doing there. Leather tanneries were fucking super poisonous. The water was contaminated. Fucking even fucking canned food was fucking extremely dangerous to eat. So we just take a lot of shit for granted. A lot of these people may have had really bad genetic damage, maybe at birth. Other people might have had fucking poisonings that causes fucking mental problems. In the 1900s, up until the fucking 80s, I remember it, they ran fucking leaded gasoline. So people were breathing in fucking lead particles, which can drop your IQ and make you hostile. I remember buying leaded gasoline and put it in my car. And the shit that was going down in the 70s, some of that serial killer action was so fucking bizarre, it sounds like lead poisoning.
Well, over on the Boomers Being Fools subreddit, they call them lead heads.
Lead heads.
Yeah. for that very reason. It's like there has to be some reason why they all act like that.
Well, all the rich neighborhoods in ancient Rome, all had fucking running water, where those water pipes were made out of lead. And the rich people in Rome fucking did crazy ass shit. They'd fucking, especially the royal class, they were cruel as hell. They were taking drugs too, but I think they also had lead poisoning.
Victor says, how come the goofy looking dudes always have big dicks?
I tell you, bro.
Do they?
Yeah. I fucking saw that program about the fucking those hookers and shit talking about.
Oh yeah, you showed me that.
and then they talked about the fucking dude who has on record the biggest fucking dick. I thought it was gonna be some fucking like black porn star dude. No, he's a British guy, white British guy. And you look at him and you go, him? He's the one? And he says it's a curse. It's so big, nobody wants to have sex with him. And he says he got two reactions. Most women just fucking scream and run.
Ta-da!
And then some of them would fucking just get all into the shit, but he can't penetrate them, so they just got to use all fucking pocket pussies and manual shit. You know what I mean? And he says some of those girls will just go straight into dick worship. You know what I mean? He gets off on that. But you look at the dude, you go like, him? You just
he
like
looks completely unassuming.
Totally unassuming. I just showed you the guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just like, that dude? You would never know. He's just a little dumpy white dude in his 50s. 40s or 50s. And that poor dude, man, he basically can't have sex. And his shit was fucking huge. How big was it? Like,
I don't remember.
14 or 15 inches or something.
Yeah, it was like some
fucking
ridiculous
and
size.
like big around. Like we were talking about like the size of a thermos and shit.
Which, yeah.
It's like the biggest one on record.
No thanks.
Yeah, it's proven. They proved it.
Well, it's in the Guinness Book. I don't know if it's the Guinness Book of World Records because I don't know if they have that, but do they even have that classification?
I got on that subject because I was watching a show where they were interviewing 3 of these sex workers. They're like porn stars / escorts, and they were talking about dicks, the best sizes, and this and that. And they all said fucking the best size is about 7 inches with pretty thick. Fucking, they said any more than that, it starts to become a fucking pain. They don't, and they've had sex with some of the fucking biggest dudes in porn, like Dredd and shit. And Dredd, he motherfucker's huge. And fucking, she was like, yeah, I had sex with that dude, and I was like, oh shit. And he's like, oh, come on, you've taken it before, you know what I mean? And fucking, they were laughing about it because two of the other, I think the other two fucking had sex with him too. And they were like, yeah. And it was like, if it wasn't for porn, that poor guy wouldn't be getting anything.
Yeah, because it's a lot.
Just too much. And fucking, they were like...
And it's not fun. It's, like, not enjoyable for the women.
Well, they asked them, they said, would you like to... they were like, could you tolerate having a boyfriend with one that the one chick said, she was like a escort porn star. I forgot what her name was. She was Russian, I think. There was a Russian one there. It may not have been the Russian one. It might have been the British one or the American one. The American one, I think. She said, she goes, that's more like a vacation dick every now and then. She's like, but every day, hell no. No, it's just too much of a hassle.
It's just too painful. It's painful.
If you're a dude, you fucking think bigger is better. You know what I mean? Fucking, it's you like, oh yeah, I wish I had one that big.
No, you don't.
But evidently, there's like a downside to that shit. Now, I don't think that same downside. No, one thing they did say is they said if it's that big, that those particular girls at that skill level, let's just say that skill, they like that size if they're going to go anal. Yeah. Because they say it's a lot easier, a lot more pleasurable.
Yeah.
So that kind of, I got Zach, I got some other gays in here. Evidently, like, size is like a big factor in a lot of the gay scene, and it's because that's what they're doing. So like, they like that. But women, if they're going to go vag, there's like a limit. This is when you start getting over 7, it starts to become kind of uncomfortable. Now, it depends on the woman. Some women are fucking 6'5". They can take quite a bit.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the woman you're talking about. But on average, like 7.
Yeah, like most of the time, like I said, over a certain size, it's just kind of like, even if you can do it, it's like not really fun. Like it's just kind of like you said, just kind of uncomfortable. Like it doesn't really feel good. So, but like I said, everybody's different.
So I'm right there. I got that shit on video. I'm right there. Yeah. Yeah. I've heard that it was perfect. Not only from her, but from other women. Are like, yeah, you don't want any more than that.
Yeah. It's like the perfect size.
Yeah.
It's like the perfect size.
And one thing is, if you're short and you got that, because I'm only 5'6", it looks good on camera. You take a good photo. Yeah. Because the proportions.
Yeah.
If I was fucking 6 foot, that'd be like a 9-inch dick, or a 10-inch dick. If I was 6'1", yeah, that's what it would look like.
Camp Guy said, what you do outside the bedroom is important when you get to the part inside the bedroom. Yes, I do agree with that. Yeah. A lot of it is kind of build up. And,
Jen always talking about build up and shit. You know what I mean? Fucking, I understand what she's talking about. The thing is that, and you guys know the deal. Fucking, when the male sex drive is weird, you could not be interested at all. All of a sudden, it just hits you like fucking crazy. And you want to go right now, like in the next 15, 20 minutes. So, what's funny is that, like, when a dude's really fucking just fired up to do it, he's not really in the mindset where he can do foreplay, which that sucks because women are all into foreplay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I like a nice slow.
Yeah. Well, I told her a couple times. I said, "No, man, I'm gonna be like this." And fucking, I says, "Okay, I can stop. Let's go into something." She said, "No, let's just go ahead and get it over with."
Well, I didn't say that.
Yeah, you're like, wait, what are you talking about?
That.
No. She goes, "Well, I don't want you to lose interest." I said, No. I can keep going. I can do this for next half hour. Yeah. Because
I don't want to take too long.
No, a dude can build up to the point to where he can just go, okay, I can back off this now and slow down, and I'll still be interested. Because there's like a certain point. No, but if you back off of it too early, then there might be. But you can get to a point to where fucking you can back off of it and fucking fuck around for an hour and still be rocked up.
I mean, because we've done that before.
Yeah.
Like, especially like on the weekends when we know we don't have to go any place and we can just lay around and,
let me go to the restroom.
And shit like
I'll
that.
get us another drink when I come back.
Oh, Tammy says Henry Winkler, a.k.a. Fonzie, is going to have a show coming out about all the old dangerous toys that kids used to play with. I think it's going to be on the History Channel. Man, I really want to see that. I loved all those, toys that made us and all those kind of shows that they had on History or Discovery. Or I think it was on the History Channel. Like, all those are really good. So, that sounds like right up my alley. I totally want to watch that. Because High Desert said they had one of those chemistry sets that had all kind of toxic goodies in it. Yeah, I had one of those too. Shit, man, what the hell? I don't think it had a name or anything, but it came in like this big box, about that big. I got it for my birthday or Christmas or something like that because I wanted one. And it was a whole science kit. It came with, it was this big kind of flat-ish box. It came with a little, like a cheap microscope, bunch of beakers and shit like that. And then it had like 2 or 3 rows of like little white, like they look like little pill bottles, essentially. Like with all different chemicals in there. And of course, me and my brother, who's 4 years younger, we were like, let's make a bomb. So we start like mixing them all together, and it's like, that just made purple soup with sulfur on top. That's not blowing up. How about let's try this? Maybe this will blow up. We never got anything to blow up, unfortunately.
That's the last of the apple juice right there.
Okay, we got soda though, right?
Got a lot of soda.
Yeah, we forgot to get more apple juice, but we got a bunch of soda. We got a bunch of soda. Yeah, I can't remember what all was in that chemistry set, but we had so much fun with that. Just like trying to blow shit up. I don't think we ate any of it though. We weren't that dumb. CB said, I know a gay guy with a 12-inch dick. Well, oh, goodness. Yeah, see, like I said, that just sounds like a lot. It sounds like a lot. DBE Dragon says, I've seen those small porn stars take huge dick. Vaginas like the TARDIS from Doctor Who. It is. Like, you can actually... I mean, obviously, a baby has to come out of there, and babies' heads are pretty large. But... You know, that said, giving birth is very, very painful, so I've heard. I've never done that myself, thankfully. But it's not something that you want inserted in there every day. You know what I mean? Like I said, up to a certain point, it's nice. But after that, you're just kind of like, oh. Like, it's just not really fun. You know what I mean? It's not really fun. But, you know, everybody's different. I don't really know. CB said, I'm loving this group sin session. Well, see, that's kind of why. Yeah, CB said, I don't get why people like having painful sex. Yeah, I don't... I know some people are, you know, people into BDSM and stuff like that. I kind of get it up to a point. But anything... Because I know some people are into kind of more extreme kind of pain, you know? And I'm just, I don't know. I'm not really into that. Not really into that. Let's see. Oh, Tammy said it's called Hazardous History. Yeah, see, I'm going to have to, like, fucking watch that. If it's on History Channel, they'll probably show it. It'll probably be on Hulu. I think Hulu shows most of the History Channel shows. That's where I usually end up watching them, because we don't watch cable, like, live or anything. I usually just watch stuff streaming the next day. Let me see what else. Sex is in the mind. It is largely. But yeah, like I said, it is kind of. I don't know. Like I said, it's. I kind of like a whole scenario. There has to be like a whole vibe. Has to be a whole atmosphere. You know what I mean? And I get that, like, sometimes dudes are like, just no, they just want to do it right now. And that's fine, too. It's like, you know, I don't mind that. But yeah, sometimes I get it, and it's kind of a pain in the ass, I know. But I just kind of have to have, like, a whole scenario. A whole scenario. Klaus says, have you ever heard of Marina Abramovich? I've heard that name, but I can't place it. So, Victor says, I know a guy with a 12-centimeter dick. Yeah, that's 2 extremes. Yeah, that's, man, not to make fun, that would suck, having a micro dick. Like I said, having a huge penis, it's like, yeah, that sucks too for different reasons, but yeah, having a micro dick, that's gotta be, that's gotta really suck a lot. There's, like, not much you can do about it, I guess. Well, they can enlarge them, can't they? I don't know what the state of the surgery of that is, like how big they can enlarge it, if it still would work or not. Yeah, I was laughing because DVD Dragon said, I've seen those small porn stars take huge dick. Vaginas like the TARDIS from Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Well, this one woman, because, you know, Tom's Twitter feed is just full of
my Twitter feed's got all kinds of experts and specialists and all kinds of...
Although your Twitter feed is kind of hilarious because it's like 80% porn and like 20% like monkeys doing funny shit.
Monkeys and animals and fucking bears.
Monkeys and bears.
Raccoons.
Bears doing funny shit.
Yeah, doing stuff, yeah.
So it's like, so it's a little
the
weird.
porn, I just kind of pass it. I go looking for the fucking monkey videos and the fucking raccoons.
Because he's always like, look at this bear.
Yeah,
it's ringing the doorbell.
That bear's ringing the doorbell. Trying to
He's like, I know you have a refrigerator in there. Let me in. But I'm like, that's not weird. They could figure that out.
Yeah, they figured that out.
They figure out how to open refrigerators and open doors and
ring
get
the doorbell.
in
People will come.
People's car. They get in people's cars and shit like that.
Yeah.
They don't drive them as far as I know.
They're out there fucking food. Ring the doorbell food. Fucking funny. This is some high tech shit.
You ring the doorbell, somebody comes, and they bring you food. Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool.
What about the one that I really liked is the fucking raccoon that got in line with the cars at the fucking checkout window.
Oh my god, that was so awesome.
And went up there and went like this.
It was a Dunkin' Donuts, right?
And they gave him a donut. Thank you. He runs up with a donut.
Or some donut place. I'm pretty sure it was Dunkin' Donuts.
It was like a Dunkin' Donuts, yeah. Yeah, got in right there with cars.
And he's like, that's what you do. You just stand in line. Yeah. And they give you a donut. He's probably watched that for a couple of days. He's like, that's a good system.
So if those cars are getting in that line, you get in that line, they'll give you a donut.
He's like, so you're going to give him a donut. I mean, come on.
Yeah, they gave him a donut. Put it in his mouth, he's running away. Well, I got it.
I got a donut. Yeah. Now he's going to come back every day. It's just kind of like that kind of famous video that went viral of that little kitty cat that goes to the fish market and brings them a leaf. In his mouth every day, because it's like money.
Yeah, to give him.
Because he saw people giving people paper and getting a fish.
Yes, it's how you get a fish.
So he's like, oh, I'll bring paper. Or here's a leaf. That's kind of like paper.
Yeah.
And brings it in her mouth, and then they give her a fish.
And it worked.
So she comes and pays for the fish.
Yeah.
They're not dumb.
They're not dumb. Well, they saw how you get fish. You get fish by you give them things.
Yeah, it's like it's a little cargo culty.
Yeah.
But they have they have the right idea. You're exchanging something for another thing. You know what I mean?
So what were we talking about? My Twitter feeds? Some of these girls, so you can take all these...
I was saying that one girl, I don't know if it was the same one, but that one girl you showed me who was pretty small, but she had this fucking dildo that was like... It was almost like a tentacle. It was like super... And she like put it up her butt. And I was just kind of like...
I don't remember which one that was.
Yeah, you see how you have so many like that. But it's just... I was like, how is that like not coming out of her mouth? It looked like it was bigger than her. And yet, she still got it in there. I'm like,
that's pretty common.
I know it is, but I'm just kind of like, that's pretty impressive.
They got Instagram. they got Instagram / OnlyFans girls that do nothing but make a shit ton of money on solo videos of them with big objects. There's no dudes involved. They got one chick in Canada that she's just amazing. I mean, huge fucking 3 foot long fucking like horse dicks and fucking weird. She could just put all this, and then she would like. You can buy her videos. She's on fucking mini vids. And some of her shit leaked out into the fucking ether. And she's a goth chick, little skinny goth chick, flat chested. And funny though. And she's just like, let's see if I can take this. And she'll talk about it. I think I can get this in. And fucking she just... I'll show it to you.
She knows she can get that.
Yeah. She went to a party with that big old thing about that fucking big up inside of her. She strap on. She had it reversed.
Oh, reversed.
So it was strapped into her, and
okay.
she had a skirt on, and you couldn't see. She went to a fucking party like that, and her husband is fucking
with that thing on her back.
Recorded. Yeah, it's fucking huge.
Yeah.
No, it had to have been fucking 20 inches and like a bigger round than a fucking Coke can, bigger, almost like a coffee can at the base.
Yeah, it's like.
Yeah, and she's out fucking hanging out. She's at her friend's party and shit. And only the husband evidently knew what was underneath that skirt. And she'd go hide off in a corner and fucking wave and fucking pull her skirt up and fucking like that. You could see that thing was... Yeah. Yeah, that was her stunt. And she's like, I didn't know I could be able to keep that in there all night. Now, the thing is I don't know if it really was, because, you can edit things.
Yeah, because you can edit shit.
But it's just, it's all storytelling. Me and Jenna made this kind of videos. It's just that you can when you have control over the edit,
nothing where you
can tell any story you want to tell.
Yeah.
If you have control over the editing. You can make anything seem like it happened.
Sure. Cody from the 90s says, thanks for a great show tonight. Have a great weekend. You too.
Thank you.
We'll see you later. CB said there was a video on YouTube of a chimp at the zoo masturbating to a blonde girl. Yeah, I think I've seen ones like that.
Yeah.
They have no shame. Yeah, Tammy said there are videos of dogs paying with a leaf. Yeah, I think I've seen ones. I've like the one that I remember the most is the cat because she was going to the fish market, and then I think Victor said, CB said, videos of animals shoplifting are always funny as fuck. There was one that I saw. I can't remember if it was a pigeon or a crow. But he would wait for the sliding doors, like the motion sensor doors, like to the convenience store to open, and then he would run in there and get a bag of chips and then run back out.
Yeah.
And he would do that like every day. They said he does this every fucking day. Like he comes in and just like grabs a bag of chips and then runs out, and nobody has the heart to stop him.
Yeah.
I was like, aw. He's like, woo, chips. He's gonna get real fat eating those chips though. I don't remember what kind of chips they were. DVD Dragon said Tom's Twitter feed is monitored by the NSA. He has his own team assigned.
yeah. That's funny.
I feel like mostly I don't have
all my shit is above the table. I don't watch any of that fucking like illegal shit with involving children or anything. That fucking sick motherfuckers. You get in trouble. Fucking first of all, I'm not interested in any of that shit. Fucking I like bombshell women. Okay. Women of massive fucking sexual power. I could turn, and I like bad girls. Jen will tell you.
Yeah.
I like bad girls. I'm not into this. These dudes, man. I can't understand. I don't understand these young Gen Z guys. You know what I mean? I'm listening to them talk about the dating scene, what's happening right now. I understand that it's tough. I was talking to a friend of ours named Scott, who's he's a whore master. He's a whore master. And a lot of the girls that he's my age, and a lot of the girls that he dates are like Gen Z. And he just tells me that a lot of these Gen Z girls on these dating apps fucking don't like these young guys because they're worthless. And I was like, yeah. He goes, oh yeah, they don't make any money. They won't get off the video games, or they're all fat. But I'm saying, but Scott, you're pretty fat. But Scott has money.
He does have money.
Scott has a lot of money. But
that's one thing.
So I can. In some ways, I understand what they're talking about. But then these dudes are saying that they want these trad wives. They want a totally feminine fucking wife that doesn't have any tattoos
that
and
stays home,
that stays at home,
cooks and takes care of the
children. And the thing is that this bitch doesn't make the fucking enough money for that.
Yeah, it's like you realize the other half of the equation is you have to completely support.
You have to completely support and pay for that,
and all of the children too.
Yeah,
like on one income.
I totally
good luck with that.
I totally understand what he's talking about. But the thing is that you got to be able to afford that.
Yeah, and most people
that
cannot.
is not a reality now.
No.
So
you have to be real wealthy.
Yeah. Or real poor and willing to be on welfare. That'll work.
But I mean, even
out
then,
in a trailer park somewhere.
That would fucking suck.
That's fucking terrible. Yeah. The
welfare is like nothing.
Yeah.
They give you nothing.
Yeah. And that woman's really only get enough to support those kids if she's got multiple baby daddies. They'll break her off some because she's unemployable. And too many children, and they're all different fathers, and they're not around. But if you're married to her, you're not going to get much welfare. But anyway, they're going on about all this shit. They're basically describing a Korean girl or a Japanese girl or something. But you go to Korea or Japan, and those girls won't want your ass either.
Nope.
Okay? Korea has a lot of problems. You know, I lived in Korea for a year. I liked Korea, even though it was like hell because I was in the military at the time. I still liked the people and kind of liked the culture, even though I was not a part of that culture. I was an outsider. You know, they treated me like an alien, an interesting alien, which was kind of fun in a way. But you're also being kind of like, what's a good word for it? You're being fetishized and animalized at the same time. It's weird. You know,
yeah.
They're like, and they're comparing you against things that they saw in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And it's kind of and I was cute back in the day. You know what I mean? I wasn't this fucking rough looking dude, you know, back in those days. I was cute. And the girls liked me there. But you couldn't have a relationship with them. You couldn't really do anything. I didn't really have a time. I was in a unit that was up near the DMZ, so I only got off like 1 24-hour pass a month, maybe 2 a month. I never saw the same girl twice. You know what I mean? Fucking. So you couldn't have any kind of relationship. It was just an interesting thing. But the thing is that those girls are not marrying their own men because their own men want them to give up their careers and be a trad wife. But they can't afford it.
Well, the thing is, and
so
you know, some women do want to do that, but a lot of women don't want to do that.
But the men can't afford it,
and they couldn't afford it anyway.
You're right. The men in Korea can't afford it, and so
I wouldn't want to.
They're not having good. They're not meeting reproduction rates over there. And I saw programs on it, and they're interviewing the women. They're like, yeah, well, these dudes are here. They want you to basically be a trad wife and give up all your shit. And you're just going to be like a side character in his story.
Yeah.
You're going to be raising the kids, and he's going to be fucking all the hookers in the brothels and shit while you're married to him anyway, because they don't think that's cheating.
Yeah, of course.
So they don't want to be...
Yeah, it's a hooker. It doesn't count.
It's a hooker. It doesn't count. They're going to do that shit. You know what I mean? So they're like... So they're very interested in kind of the Western situation, which some Korean guys are kind of going that way. You know what I mean? Where we'll build a life together. I'll work and you're working. They're more into that now. But the Korean guys are traditional, most of them. They don't want... They're very Confucianist, where a woman is just... She's there to make harmony in the home and blah, 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 blah. But the Korean girls aren't into that. Yeah, really, the Japanese girls aren't into that either.
Like I said, most women...
Not with the dudes that they're being...
Most women, if given the choice, don't want to do it.
Yeah. Which I understand it. Because they were saying...
We just want to do our own shit like a dude does.
When I was there in 1990 and 91, that's what they were telling me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't fully grasp it. I was real young back then. But now I grasp more of what they were saying. So what I was saying is that... But here's the thing. These dudes that are into this trad wife situation, even if they went to Korea, where that's more the norm, they wouldn't be able to afford that there.
No.
And if you did hook up with a hot Korean chick, she wouldn't want that.
No.
She would want a Western style.
Yeah.
Relationship of equality.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of divided up and it's more partnership.
Yeah.
The Eastern...
that's better for everybody.
The Eastern relationship is not partnership. It's more like... The man is the main character, the woman is the supporting cast member. So she's not living her life. She's helping you live your life.
Yeah.
Which, man, that's
shitty.
That's shit. You don't want that. You get bored with that.
Most people don't want that.
You get bored with that so fast.
It just makes you like really resentful after a while because you don't feel like your own person anymore. You just feel like an adjunct to another person.
Well, I can't understand the dude that would get off into that. I get sick of that quick.
Well, I mean, it's easier for dudes because they're getting all the benefits out of it.
But you're not getting benefits.
Well, I mean, they feel like they are.
You're not. Because women like that are usually boring and not attractive. They're not sexually attractive because they're kind of like a conquest now. So they're not really a peer.
Yeah.
So what they end up doing is they go to the brothels and find a fucking hooker who's exciting. And she's more of a peer.
Yeah.
To him.
But the thing about it is that the dude is still getting the benefit because it's a win-win. He's getting both. He has his cake and eating it too.
He's getting both.
He has some woman at home that won't question him.
Yeah.
Taking care of his house, taking care of his kids, cooking for him and shit. Look, but then he can still go out and do whatever the fuck he wants.
But those dudes get sick of that. So it's not a win-win. All of a sudden she becomes ball and chain.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was how traditionally a lot of guys, even in the West, considered marriage.
Yeah, I know.
The ball and chain.
Well, yeah, I remember, like, even in the 50s, 60s, even into the 70s, like, there was a lot of comedians and, like, it was sitcoms and stuff like that, and that was, like, a big fucking joke. Oh, the ball and chain. Like, the wife, like, they all hated their fucking wives.
Yeah.
Like, because they just got married because they had to, and they didn't really want it. So it was like a trope that dudes didn't really want to get married and get tied down. Right. They just wanted to run around sticking their dick in whatever moved, evidently. And it's just kind of like they didn't like that all their fun was taken away by this harpy woman. So that was like a big fucking trope.
What I'm saying, my message to these young Gen Z guys who are fantasizing about this trad wife fucking red pill fantasy. I'm not saying red pill's not true. There's a lot of that's true. But the thing is, though, is that type of woman, you'd get sick of that quick. You don't want that. You want a woman that's more of an equal to you in terms of fucking like it's a partnership. You guys are making about the same amount of money. Okay. You guys are on a social level about equal. You got the same kind of friends. You're in the same shit. And together you're building a household. You know what I mean? And you're both working and you're building something together. That's really what you want to do.
I mean, that's really the ideal situation.
You don't want to be totally in charge in it because then failure and success is all on you. And guess what? You're going to fail. Because you really need two incomes. Unless you're a rich dude. Then they're in a different situation. If you're rich enough to do that, then chances are you're rich enough to have 3 girls.
Yeah.
Which they do.
Well, yeah, if they can, they will.
If they can, they'll do. So
it's like you're not going to get... Yeah, you might get a rich dude, but he's not going to, like, just fucking...
It's not be just you.
Nope.
And here's the thing. If I'm real rich and I can afford 3 of them, why would I marry any of them?
Right.
They'd be on a constant rotation. Which I kind of did that for a while. Jen knew me when I was kind of doing that. Fucking, but even that gets old. Because you're not finding your person.
Yeah.
And then the only women that are really going for that is transactional. So they're kind of predatory in a way, or symbiotic. I don't want to say parasitic.
Well, they're just trying not to get too involved with you because they know
that they're
score.
Just right.
They know they're just one of many. And
exactly.
So they're not going to get too attached.
And they know it's temporary, and you know it's temporary. So it's not really that good of a relationship because you know they're not going to be around long, and you're not going to be around long, and it's just so.
So in a way, like, well, the relationships are more kind of shallow because you never get to know them. You don't. Yeah. Like
you're
really
making up for the quality with quantity.
Yeah.
You know, and novelty, where it's a new one. You know.
Yeah.
Which that eventually runs out too. You're like, you don't care. You know. So it's better to just find one you're friends with and fucking everything clicks and you have fun and you just be honest. And me and Jen are super honest with each other. And we have fun and we party together and stuff, and that's all cool, you know. And we fucking built all this, and so I don't know. I'm just saying, some of this fucking trad wife fantasy that these dudes have is like, you actually don't want that. You only reason why you want that is because you don't have that. If you did have that, you'd get sick of that real quick. Yeah, that's what would happen. I always liked bad girls. Yeah. But not so bad that I couldn't trust them. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I said, you don't want somebody that's like a heroin addict that's going to steal all your money. Or
stealing all your money and lying at you, fucking all your friends and not telling you. And, or at least not even fucking giving you a fucking video copy of the shit that she did. You know what I mean?
It's like, that's what really makes it bad enough.
My friends, record that shit, goddammit. Yeah, if you're going to fuck my friends, you better record that shit. Fucking.
That's what I mean. It's like, it's bad enough you do that, but then leave me out of it. Like,
you don't even let me see what happened. What the fuck, man?
That's lame.
Yeah. So you know, they're when I listen to them videos, it's the arguments of young guys who are not real experienced. You know.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, and I'm like, and they're having kind of a fantasy built up about the way the relationship should be. And it sounds a lot like the fantasy that Korean guys have and Chinese guys have. That's not the way women really are, and the ones that are like that, you wouldn't really like them, and you're better off fucking competing and trying to get a woman that's kind of at your level and fucking having a friendship with her. And that's a lot better, you know. And me coming up in my 20s, you know, I was in the goth scene, and the ones I liked were goth girls who tended to be strippers, which those are bad girls. Yeah. But they were good.
Yeah.
You know, they were
nice people.
Yeah, they weren't hiding anything from me, you know what I mean? And fucking, you know, I knew what they did for a living. I thought that was cool. You know, I didn't care. She was just like, yeah, just give me money. I'm just flirting with these guys to give me money. You know, for all I know, I don't think they were fucking selling pussy, but even if they were, you know, I really wouldn't give a shit. Because fucking, man, I'd fucking meet up with breakfast for them and they'd fucking buy breakfast. We'd go to the club together, you know what I mean? They had money. Yeah. You know? And they were just like any other woman, you know, or any other woman of their age. They were just regular. You know, they wanted to have regular relationships and stuff. And they couldn't really go out with normal civilian guys. So were they going to go out with these little jock boys and shit and these fucking simps at the fucking strip club? No.
Yeah, gross.
They're going to go out with guys at the goth club, like them, you know?
Well, yeah, because the goth scene tends to be a lot more chill about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's not weird to them, and they don't care as much about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't bother them, so...
To me, the stripper was just like a go-go dancer. She just happened to take her clothes off and knew how to milk men for money. I thought that was cool.
Like I said, it's a fucking job. Got to make money somehow.
Yeah.
I don't look down on them or nothing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, more power to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know, I had an acting background, working on stage. They're just working on stage, really. They're putting on a show.
Yeah, like I said, not a big deal.
Yeah.
Not a big deal. Yeah, Tammy said these men want to go back to the old days where they could beat their wives and still be king. Yeah, I kind of suspect.
I don't think that's based on what they're saying, that's not what they're talking about.
Well, I think that might be
what's
underlying it.
No, that's going too far. They want to go back to a time where they were valuable, that a woman needed them for survival because of the money. It doesn't necessarily mean they want to fucking beat on them.
Well, they wanted to have power over them is what they
wanted to be valuable. Okay, look, women in general will choose a guy based upon what kind of security he can provide, what his status is. That dude could be ugly, but if he's cool and he's got a lot of money and he's got good status, everybody likes him, she'll go for him. Men don't really... Okay, women, on the other hand, she could be an okay person, but if she's got a great rack and she looks great, she's going to get her man. But there is no male equivalent to that other than that money and status. You know what I'm talking about? Money and status is the male equivalent of money, or the female equivalent of money and status to a man would be having big ass titties. So what these guys are basically saying is saying, I wish I had some big ass titties. That's all they're saying. They want to be attractive.
Yeah.
But you could put big ass titties on a dude and he's not going to get him a woman. Okay? You give him some money and status, then he will be attractive to women. That's all they're saying. It'd be the same as flat-chested girls saying, I wish I had some implants. You got to look at it from the male point of view. That's what they're saying. So it's not mean-spirited. It's just they want to be more than what they are. They want to be more attractive than they are. Because you're broke, you're not attractive.
Well, that's true of anybody, I guess. DVD Dragon says, if you cheat on Tom, you best film that shit in 4K with good lighting.
Exactly. I got to have good audio and everything. And you better be calling my name when that shit's happening.
I would never do
Tom, I'm fucking doling this pussy out just for you. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Look at all this money I got for you, baby. Yeah, you better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I think he would think it was funny. Because I said,
that shit was hilarious.
We've kind of talked about that. Well, it's just kind of like... Our shit is that...
Me and Jed come from a fucking weird scene, man.
Whatever goes on, the only stipulation is nobody does anything behind anybody's back.
Yeah, we're all going to go into that shit as a team.
Like, nobody sneaks around and does anything.
Yeah.
Like, if shit happen... Like, if both of us are together and, like, shit happened with other people... Like, that would be okay.
Yeah.
I guess.
Depends on who it was and what was
depends on who it was in the situation.
And it's all
like,
I can't
say that, like,
it's all in the moment.
The board.
It's all in the moment.
But, yeah, like, if you did something behind my back, I would be pissed. Yeah. And you would probably be pissed if I did something behind my back. But I wouldn't do that because I'm not that kind of person. But...
Well, you know, I'm not that kind of person either. I mean, fucking... Jen likes hearing shit that you know, like, I'll be out and I'm like, man, this chick's got huge ass. She goes, yeah, she's going to be blowing me here in a minute. I'll make shit up. She likes it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean...
She likes to... There's a certain thing, and all people have it, is that your spouse, your wife, your girlfriend, or whatever... They're more attractive if somebody else wants them too.
Yeah.
If nobody wants them, they're not as attractive to you. So you can tease other people. You know what I mean? So sometimes teasing about how somebody wants you, or that I see somebody wants her, fucking, it's kind of like, it makes her more attractive in my eyes because I now have to compete. It's like a competition thing. But another thing is that for me, it's kind of like a compliment to me that I'm with a hottie, too. You know, that's another thing. Like, you know, me and Jen have been at the club together, and I've fucking gone to the restroom, and I come back, and I see a guy trying to buy her a drink. I just fucking step back and let her handle that. You know, fucking, and I'm like, fucking, yeah, that's good to go. Fucking Jank is still full. You know what I mean? Fucking he's not being rude. As long as he's not being rude and fucking, and everything happens.
Well, you didn't know if he was being rude.
If he'd being rude, I'd be over there and fuck away from her. You know what I mean? But he didn't know that I was with her. You know, he because he came in after I fucking went to the restroom or something. So I wasn't insulted. It's not like he was trying to step on my dick or anything. He didn't know me. He didn't see me. And, and Jim was like, basically, oh, no, thank you. I'm with somebody. This and that. He's, oh, okay, yeah, cool. He probably would have brought you.
I was nice about it. He was nice about it.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was a good interaction.
Right.
Because I kind of feel like some dudes are like, what, I can't even buy a girl a drink now?
Yeah. I'm
like, well, it's not that. It's just that if you offer and she says no and she's polite to you and you get all fucking butthurt about it, then we're going to have a problem about it.
And look, man, some of you guys are like, man, that's some weird shit. No, it isn't. Because you want that to happen to your wife or your girlfriend because you want her to feel good about herself that guys still find her attractive. It's actually better for you because if a woman feels attractive, you're going to get better sex out of her. It's just the way it is. If a woman doesn't feel good about herself, the sex isn't very good.
Yeah, I mean, because
her esteem is down.
I mean, that's true for dudes too. But I mean,
same thing.
I think it's maybe, I don't know. I hate to speak for everybody, but I think it's more pronounced for women. Like women have to be, because man, there's so much shit going on in our brains like all the time that like the littlest thing can like distract from it.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like you have to have everything like right in the right situation where you feel hot and like the whole situation is hot, and it's just like then you can kind of relax and get into it. Otherwise, there's going to be like all these niggling little thoughts in your head that are going to like keep taking you out of it. Right. It's really irritating.
And these dudes who are constantly fucking stressing over who's looking at their woman and talking, that's all a weak man. That's weak men that do that. That's men who think that they're going to be dumped or that they can't keep a woman. If you're with a hot woman, you actually want to take her out and let her get some affirmation. Well, she'll feel better about herself, and she'll have a more honest opinion of herself because guys are still attractive. And then you, as a man, will be like assured that I'm with a desirable woman, so you value her more.
And the thing about it too is that if you're with somebody, you should trust them. If you don't trust them, you probably shouldn't be with that person. So it's like, I mean, Tom knows that it's like if some random ass dude came up and started hitting on me or something like that, I'm not gonna take the bait.
No.
You know what I mean? I'm just not going to. I'm not that kind of person. So it's just kind of, so he knows that I'm not.
Jen's got a good taste in men. She can spot a fucking loser. She can spot a dog. The particular dude that we're talking about from that one day, he was a nice guy. He was, you could tell he was good dude.
He did not get shitty. He did not get, because I've had that happen where like some dudes will come up and I'm nice at first. Yeah. If they approach me, no. But if I'm like, no, thank you, I'm with somebody, then they get shitty. Oh, well, then we're gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
Then I'm eventually gonna get
I've been in situations where we're out there dancing on a dance floor and a fucking real sus motherfucker will just move in on her like that. And I'll just grab a dude by his, just grab a dude by his fucking shoulder and walk him back over to him and go, that's my wife. And that motherfucker ducks out instantly.
Yeah.
That's my wife.
Yeah.
That happened a couple weeks back, about a month ago, wasn't it? 2 months ago?
Yeah.
Did you even see that guy?
I saw him out of the corner of my eye. Yeah. Well, I'd seen him earlier.
Yeah.
And I didn't recognize him. And like that was at Barbarella, right?
Yeah. He left.
And at Barbarella, if I don't know who you are, that's a problem. Because I know everybody there.
We know everybody. Right.
Or at least have seen them before.
Yeah. That's another thing is that wherever.
So that guy, I was like, just the way he was moving was just like really, I was like, that dude is going to be trouble.
Yeah. And the thing is I'm glad that as I got older, I got fucking bigger.
Yeah.
It's not I fuck these dudes up. You know what I mean? And it's that particular dude 6-7 years ago, I would have done the same thing, but if I'd had to fight him, it would have been a problem, and I probably could have lost. Now I'd have just run through that dude. So there is something about having physical power and strength that's a fucking key. And that's another thing about something I want to tell you younger dudes and you older dudes. Don't listen to what fucking people say. Get in the fucking gym. Get in the gym. Get big. Get big. Get strong. Get some fight training. You know, I'm a professional soldier. I got lots of fight training. Fucking mostly weapons. You know, pistols, rifles, fucking machine guns. But I got hand-to-hand shit too. Now what I want to do is I want to go get MMA training. We didn't have MMA when I was in my 20s. There's an MMA school here, but I'm in my 50s. Although I looked at the other students that I investigated it, and they got dudes that are in their 40s that look worse than me. So I could do well there. Just I don't know how much time I want to put in that. What kind of money, you know?
Yeah.
But I need to get a ground game, and they're real good at it. Might be fun. Maybe I might like to go back and train. Physically, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, you probably have a good time doing it.
Yeah. I just don't want to get drunk and fucking fucked up on tread and fuck people up.
Well, yeah, don't do that.
Pow! But
it's funny. One of the episodes of Farscape we were watching last night. It was about the guys that like came in and tried to take over the ship, and they had those gauntlets on their arms that had
fluid in there.
Had the fluid in there that was like injected, and I was
steroids
like,
in there.
It's Tren. It was making them act like
super alpha. Well, I'm gonna kill all of them.
I'm gonna kill all of them. I was like, oh my god,
I'm in charge now.
There's Tren in there. Somebody knew what they were talking about.
Somebody knew exactly what they were talking about.
Because like the shit they were saying, and me and Tom were both like, it's Tren.
Tren. They're talking about Tren. Yeah. The aliens were taking Tren. They make everybody a Superman.
Where it's like, yeah, like the way they really enjoyed, like, I'm just gonna kill everybody.
I feel good. Yeah, I feel fucking great.
All right.
You're just gonna run in there. Oh yeah, I'm gonna kill every one of them. I'm gonna kill every fucking one of them.
And they're like, what? Bro, chill out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? CB says, in my opinion, if you were single, fuck who you want. But if you were with someone, you should just fuck them. I've never cheated, but I have been cheated on. Yeah. No, I've never cheated on anybody either. Because like I said, I don't know. It's just not me. Like I said, it's different if you're single. Yeah, you can do whatever the fuck you want. But like I said, we don't do. I don't know. We talk about a lot of stuff.
Me and Jen.
But
I have exes and shit that still hang around that are in couples. They're constantly inviting us to go do couples stuff.
Yeah, like swinger stuff, you know.
Yeah. So, but you know, so we're in kind of a weird situation. And we're in Florida. There's a lot of fucking couples shit you can do. And then sometimes Jen will start she'll pick up some chick. She starts making out with some chick at the club. And fucking we're like, yeah, we should take this chick back. We'll just, you know, but then she gets scared because she's also trying to find the girl that we're talking about. And there's two of them like that. They don't want to spoil it because they're looking for men, too, to fucking help pay the bills.
And they don't want to like make it seem like
because one of them came out and said, "Man, if there's dudes in here and if they see me making out with goth goddess and fucking muscle man here, they're gonna fucking run off." Yeah. You know, so there's a lot of that shit going on.
So we don't want to interfere with other people's shit, like finding their person.
Yeah, because
we're just trying to have a good time.
Yeah, me and Jen are fucking committed. We've been together for fucking almost 15 years. I'm heterosexual though. Jen's bisexual. And you know, she could use some. I told her, so you could have a girlfriend as long as I know her and like her, and we all hang out together. Yeah. I don't even have to sleep with her, as long as I think she's cool. Because we kind of already had situations like that may or may not have had sex involved in it anyway. As long as I know her and I like her, and it's all good. But Jen isn't really all that sexually motivated. It's just she likes to hang out with girls, and you know they'd be reading books and nerding out on fucking
talking about horror movies,
horror movies and stuff, you know,
and occasionally making
we'll go out on a date with her, you know, and fucking whatever, it's that kind of shit. So we're not like normal fucking, you know, we're not the fucking 100% traditional in that way.
But I mean, largely 99% of the time, we're just fucking each other.
But Jen's pretty much taken care of in the man department. But she likes to fool around. She likes girlfriends.
But just with girls.
Yeah.
I don't really give a shit about other dudes.
Yeah, you got enough man.
That's what I mean. It's just like it really is like other dudes.
You got one of the best ones around here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And I'm, you know, and it's like, it's just other dudes are kind of. I've always been like that. Like if I'm in a relationship with somebody, it's like other dudes just kind of become invisible. I've never been kind of the kind of person to like check dudes out anyway. Yeah. Like it's just not something I do.
It's something else I want to tell you youngsters.
Yeah, you youngsters.
Especially when it comes
get
to...
off my lawn.
I'm going to get the fuck off my lawn. But in the goth scene and probably in other scenes that... a lot of women don't really look at dudes. Dudes are kind of expendable. They're mostly doing a lot of performative stuff with the other girls that are kind of their peers. Which that's the same, I go to a fucking biker bar, I'm just fucking, talking to other bikers and shit. It's the same thing that women do, So, most of the time, if a woman's already got a guy that she's happy with, she doesn't really notice dudes that much. And if you put yourself in a woman's shoes, most dudes are not dressed right.
Well,
they don't quite look right. The hygiene's bad, and they don't know how to talk anyway. There's a lot of dudes don't really have much game. And the dudes that do have game are dripping with women. Dripping with them. So, he's no threat to you. He's already got women.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, as a man, I don't worry about some other fucking expert dick slinger. He got 3 girlfriends already.
Yeah.
He's not hungry. Who you worried about is some dude who's kind of like middle ranking, who is going to try something risky. He's going to try to fucking roll the dice. He's gonna crap out, right? Because if he was any good, he'd have a girlfriend by now. It's that kind of shit. But fights are usually started by dudes like that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily fucking Romeo. All our male friends are some kind of Romeo usually. They're all hooked up.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much all of our...
Yeah.
I can't really think of any.
All the male friends that we have are taken.
I think they're all taken.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I can't really think of that many that are single. Maybe one. I don't know. Maybe one. But no, other than that, they all have girlfriends or wives.
Yeah. If you're worth your salt by 35, you're gone.
And I mean, like I said, our crowd is a bit older too, because we're older. But I mean, the thing about it too is that I don't usually have I don't have dudes hitting on me much at Barbarella, because like I said,
they all know us.
We know, know pretty much everybody there, and everybody knows that we're together, so nobody is gonna fuck with that.
Yeah.
I mean, because we've been together a long time, and it's like we've known these people forever. Like they've known us the same amount.
They also know that we're intertwined with management.
That too.
Management and fucking all the DJs and stuff. So we can do whatever we want. And fucking staff is fucking great to us. They come up and fucking drink shots with us. Fucking bartenders come in. Hey, you guys want to have some shots? Yeah. She's over there making us shots and fucking drinking shots. And
wow, that one bartender at the Axe Trap, man.
Yeah. She fucking loves us. She'll make us like 2, 3, 4 shots.
It's the strongest fucking drink.
Yeah. Oh, she fucking.
We get there early, and she just like vodka.
It's all vodka with a little bit of fucking mixture. And she'll like wink, and I'm like, man, you had it. And it's
like we're not gonna remember.
Yeah, and their tequila is El Jimador, which is good. That's good shit.
Yeah, we bought that for the house before.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like tequila, but
all their wells are basically mid shelf. It's not bottom shelf shit.
Yeah, it's kind of a slightly classier place. I don't even know what you call it. It's not a restaurant, but they have food.
It's a
bar.
It's a bar with an axe throwing range.
Yeah.
With a dance floor.
But I don't know if
it used to be a strip club.
Yeah, a long time ago.
It's called the Booby Trap. Now it's called the Axe Trap.
I mean, they tore that old building down because the old building had like kind of concrete tits.
Yeah.
On it. It was a pretty iconic building in Orlando because it's so tacky. I love though that when they tore the building down and built the Axe Trap there, they kept the stripper pole and the neon sign from the Booby Trap, and they just put it in the corner. So there's like a little like Instagram photo op thing over there where there's like just in the corner there's like a little stripper pole and a pink neon that says Booby Trap on it, just as a little homage to a long gone Orlando landmark. The building with the tits on top.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, CB said, if you're into something, you're better getting a girlfriend or boyfriend from the same community. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. Yeah, CB said I stopped looking for a girlfriend outside the fetish community because the relationship never worked. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you're going to build a relationship with somebody, you really should have... You don't have to have everything in common, obviously, because, you know, you want them to be a little bit different from you, but, I mean, you do have to have some shit in common.
Yeah.
So it is kind of better to... Honestly, I don't really know... I don't really think I would ever... I mean, if God forbid if, like, something ever happened to you, but... I don't really think... I wouldn't date outside the goth/horror scene. Because what the fuck?
Well...
I mean...
That one dude you were dating was from outside the scene,
well,
but
there was some overlap.
Yeah, there was overlap, right.
He was, he actually was more in the burlesque.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, there's a lot of overlap with the goth scene. He was in the burlesque fetish scene, because his mom owned a company that made, like, stripper costumes and burlesque costumes. So he sewed, that's what he did. That was his job. Like, he worked for his mom's company. And so he was so he knew all the strippers and all the burlesque dancers and all, so he was kind of in that world, which, like I said, I knew a little bit about that, and he knew a little bit about, because he was younger than me, but so there was a little bit of overlap.
He was a good dude. Fucking, I knew him. We used to hang out with him. He was probably like 6'5", big old dude.
He was 6'5", yeah.
Yeah, big old dude. He was cool though. I liked him.
I didn't know that when I met, because I met him online actually.
That was before me and Jen were friends. We would would like have sex sometimes, but we were like friends with benefits. But we were also dating other people during that time because she was newly divorced. I didn't want to tie her down. You know, fucking. She needed to go out and fucking see what was out there. She almost hooked up with him. That would have been a good match. But he wasn't ready. He
had just divorced.
He had just gotten divorced himself. He wanted to play the field. You know?
And he was a lot younger. He was 11 years younger.
He needed to go out. He needed to go and sow his royal oats.
Wild oats, yeah.
Yeah, they actually called it royal oats of fucking Coming to America. Remember that?
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
But yeah, he was a good dude though.
Yeah, I liked him a lot.
So that was good for you though. To have that. That was part of the reason why I'm saying you guys got to know that, you know, when I met Jen, she was coming out of a marriage. She was married when I first met her.
Yeah.
And we were friends, but even before she got divorced, we were friends while she was still married.
Yeah.
And when she got divorced, we would hang out together and fucking sometimes we'd go home together. But then we'd be right back hanging out and we might date some other people. And it was both of us, and I was coming out of a marriage too. So both of us needed to fucking like just have fun and hang out and see what was going to happen. And it took a couple years and it all settled down. And then eventually we're just like, fuck it. And we started it's like, why the fuck are we dating other people? We're together all the fucking time. We were, because me and her were inseparable.
Yeah, we were literally together all the time.
Once we made it a thing after a couple years, we were probably hanging out 3 years, 4 years maybe, before we became a thing. Maybe 3?
I think it was more like 2.
More like 2? Good. We started... Then when we announced it, we're like, yeah, we're a couple now. Everybody was like, well, fucking finally.
They're like, duh.
Of course, yeah. Everybody else fucking saw it. Yeah, we knew. We both knew.
Because it's like, you guys were together every fucking... Like, we used to go to iBar / Barbarella almost every night. Mm-hmm. And we were always together.
Yeah, or talking on the phone, or messaging.
Or going over each other's houses and watching TV.
Hanging out at her house, watching TV.
He'd come over and cook food for me. Or I'd go over to his house and he'd cook over there.
Yeah.
Or something.
So that's another thing I want to tell you dudes, you know what I mean? Fucking relationship isn't just about sex, you know what I mean? Fucking me and Jen were friends.
Yeah.
Before all that. And like aside of all that. You know, and fucking we have feelings, but we were letting shit kind of just coagulate. It was kind of early. Eventually, where I was like, after a couple of years, I was like, why are we fucking doing this? Like, you know what I mean? Let's just go ahead and do some exclusive type shit.
Like I said, I don't even remember us having a talk about it.
No, it just happened kind of like, I think I just called you my girlfriend.
Yeah, you introduced me as that.
Yeah.
Like at Venue 13. Yeah. I remember.
Yeah.
And like to somebody we didn't know.
Yeah, and she went, I'm your girlfriend? I went, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like...
Yeah, you're my girlfriend.
I was like, okay, it's a thing now? Okay, yeah it's all right.
And it was just a normal transition. And here's the thing, man. I was listening to the fucking Koreans and Korean girls and Japanese girls talk about dating Western guys, and they said that was the thing that really fucked them up. In Japan and Korea, a dude confesses his love before you're even dating, and then you become boyfriend instantly, and then the relationship starts.
Okay, see, that's entirely backwards.
Totally backwards. And he said it was odd as hell these girls were saying it's odd as hell to date these American guys and sleep with them, not knowing what the relationship was, and that went along for a long time.
Yeah, because you're just kind of feeling each other out. Yeah, if you're compatible.
And then the dude said, "We're in a relationship." And fucking that one Korean girl was saying she thought the shit was weird as fuck. She was uncomfortable with it. But as soon as he says, "Okay, we're a relationship," she said after he said that, then she understood it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because she just said it was very Western. And she realized, she's like, I went through, it was kind of like going through a selection process. That's what it.
Well, that's exactly what it is. I mean, it sounds a little, it's not very romantic saying it like that.
Right, but that's what.
But like I said, that's kind of why you go through a period where it's kind of like maybe you're dating more than one person. And it's like everything's just super casual because you're just trying to, like I said, you're trying to just feel these people out. It's like, do I click with this person? Are we compatible in this way and that way? It's like, can I hang out with this person? Do I want a future with this person? Yeah. Something like that.
Well, look at the alternative. The Eastern alternative was before you just see the chick. And then you confess your fucking undying love for her. And
before you don't even know her.
You don't even fucking know her. And then you date. And then it doesn't work out and you dump her.
Yeah, see, that's weird.
So now you just, not only you're a fucking loser now. You put her through all that shit. You wasted all of your time. Then all that lying about fucking how you undying love and all that kind of shit. So the way we do it is more natural. And that's what one Korean girl said, that it's more naturalistic. It's not ritualistic.
Yeah.
Which for them it's ritual.
Because you can't. I don't believe in love at first sight in the sense that you just see somebody. Like, I understand meeting somebody and clicking with them and being like, hey, like, I'm gonna be, because I've met people like that where I'm like, this is gonna be like a friend for life or whatever. Like, I get that. But just seeing someone from afar and being like, oh my god, I love that person. You don't even fucking know that person. Yeah. It might as well be a fucking celebrity.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I never even lied to myself like that. For me, I just knew it was lust at first sight. I was like, look at her ass. Well,
that's exactly what it is.
I'd be like, look at her ass. God damn.
Yeah. Like, at least be honest, that's what it is.
Yeah. And I'm meeting her like, man, she's cool too. I'm like, but I never fucking even lied to myself about love. It was just attraction.
You can't love somebody.
You don't know her.
Until you know them.
Right.
I don't think.
Yeah,
not really.
And dudes are very visual, so everything especially when you're young, you're super visual. So there are things about women that just stand out, they pop out at you, and it's usually a body part. And a dude will get all off into that body part, just the body, her titties or her ass or her face or whatever. Might be 2 or 3 things happening at once, depending. And then you just
dude gets overload.
He just overload. Yeah. So it's physical for the young guy. When you get older, it doesn't have the power over you that it did when you were in your teenage years, in your early 20s, even with my fucking elevated testosterone levels, I feel it, I see it, but it doesn't have the power that it once had because you're older now. You're older, wiser, you've seen more, and you go, yeah, okay, yeah, that's great. I've had one like that, though. You know what I mean? It's good, but it's not enough to fucking make me fucking chase that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's gonna take a lot more. The older you get, actually, the more finicky you are. You need more stuff. When you're young, she just has to have at least one physical feature that attracts you. That's all it takes, and a dude will hit or try to.
Yeah.
When you get older, all of a sudden you start worrying about complicated things like her personality.
God forbid.
God forbid. Her personality's now coming into this shit.
Oh no.
Well, our fucking
never even occurred to.
Yeah, our system is so primitive
I know.
You know,
We've noticed, Tom.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, now I gotta worry about her personality. Now I gotta worry what she does for a living and fucking how many relationships. You know, is she good in a relationship? How does she talk? Complex. You know, yeah, shit like that. Yeah. So you start to become a little more sophisticated.
That's good.
Oh, when you were a teenager, you just all it takes is like a body part.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We had look, we know what y'all are like.
Yeah.
Like I said, girls mature a lot faster than dudes do.
Yeah.
Why do you think younger women are always like kind of lamenting over like what shitheads like dudes are like?
It doesn't last forever. Well,
depends on
some dudes it does.
There's still dudes. Yeah. There's dudes walking around 60 still acting like that.
Some dudes don't develop.
No. Yeah. Some dudes just become arrested at fucking
at 15, 16.
15 and like they never grow past that point. Yeah. Sadly, like I said, I've seen some old men run around acting like that.
Yeah.
So they never grow out of it.
No.
Unfortunately.
I did.
Well, yeah, you did. Yeah. But I'm saying.
But the thing is, it took experience.
Yeah.
It's because I was having success.
Yeah.
Guys that don't get a success, I don't think they actually kind of go through the stages of outgrowing certain things. They're still fucking trying to get through the fact that she's got a nice ass. You know, they can't get beyond that. You know.
Well, like you said, if they don't,
because they don't get that.
Yeah, because they don't get it, so they kind of like fixate on it, and they can't move past.
They can't overcome it.
Yeah, because like I said, if you're a teenage
they cannot overcome the woman's ass.
Or if you're in your 20s and you get a lot of sex with women with nice asses and stuff like that,
it's not as
because you've done that.
You've done that. Yeah,
it's just kind of like it's not the be all end all.
It doesn't have the novelty that it wants to. Just
right.
Go, oh, okay, yeah, women have nice asses. Yeah, that's a big one and that's a little one. You know, it's just. But women actually kind of adopt that thinking a lot. I think it's because women have easier access to sex than guys do. Women can have sex anytime they want to, most of them. The average one can. Not so much the male. So because a woman has the power to say no and say yes a lot easier than a guy does, her standards raise a lot faster. Because she can get laid whenever she wants to. Most of her job is to tell dudes no. Oh, not that one, not this one. Because she's choosing. You know?
Yeah.
The dude really isn't choosing.
Well, like I said, we have a lot more to lose.
Yeah,
so.
The guy has a lot less to lose. As long as he's attracted, he'll go for it. He's mostly getting shot down.
John Gora said, boobs had superpowers from the ages of like 10 to 25 for me.
I know, man.
Now, not so much. Legs are nicer.
I know. Well, no. Fucking when I was a little boy, fucking boobs were fucking in the forefront.
Yeah, Tom was just like, boobs.
I fucking loved boobs.
That was probably like, all that was going through his mind like all the time.
Yeah.
Boobs.
I'd be looking at big boobs.
Big bouncy
My mom's
boobs.
friends' boobs. Fucking my mom would bring her friends. You know, I was a little kid. Maybe they were in their early 20s, and I'd be looking at their boobs going, God. Yeah, little boys are into boobs.
Yeah. But you like legs, too, and asses.
Yeah. Yeah. What I remember mostly was when I was like, he's talking about like 10 to
10
12,
to 25,
13, 14. Boobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I started getting 14, 15, 16, it was tits and ass.
Yeah.
And face, of course, you know.
Although you were telling me that face was not quite as important.
No, that's not what I said. What I said is that the average woman's face is good enough.
Yeah.
Because the average woman's face is pretty good from a guy's point of view. So that's not really the main thing most dudes look for. If you do see a woman that has a stunning face, that's cool, but that's not really one thing that's really going to drive you that much. It's mostly the other attributes. You know. Now, once you've hooked up with her and you're really into her, then maybe her face will be, if she's got a pretty face, might come more to the forefront of your, you know what I mean, your image of her. But it's mostly more kind of like what you said about dudes. It's more like the overall score.
Yeah.
It's mostly that. But most dudes in the comment section are going to back me up. If you take the average female face of any age group, let's say an average face of an average 25-year-old, and then, you know, which is like a 5, okay? And you give her a body of 9 or 10, every dude will go for that. Every dude will. Now, if you make that face a 2, it's gonna maybe a little bit. Dudes will still hit it, but not as many. It's just the way guys are built. I think it has something to do with attraction towards physical build. Might have something to do with genetic selection.
Yeah, things other than the face.
Things other than face, but an average face is way good enough, and especially if she's got a really good body. They'll take a girl with a face of 5 and a body of 8 or 7 over a girl that has a face of a 9 but a body of a 4. Yeah. Easily.
Yeah, I can see that.
There's something about a woman's physicality and her physical form that kind of initiates the sexual desire cycle in the man. You know what I'm talking about? Like, okay, yeah, this is it. If she's not physically attractive, she's overweight or maybe too skinny. Some guys, like I kind of have a too skinny mechanism where like, yeah, she's cute. I like the way she looks. She's too skinny. I really don't want to fuck that. Which kind of diffuses it in a way. You take that same girl and you put fucking 30 pounds of meat on her. And she looks a lot better than you're like, oh yeah, I'll be all about it. It's just something about the way. And I don't think women are not the same way. I don't think they are as judgmental over a man's body as a male. I mean,
I'm not, and nobody I know is like women friends. They're not.
Although there's a difference between what women will say and admit and what they actually will do. Like I saw a study where, well, one of the ones, and I think I mentioned this before. They ask women, and women also tend not to have the same type of vocabulary that men have. So they don't understand the words in the same ways dudes do. Like they'll ask a woman, do you like bodybuilders? They'll say no. And then you show them a picture of Jason Momoa, and she goes, oh, he's so fucking hot. Jason Momoa would classify as a fucking classic bodybuilder. That'd be the 1950s, 1960s classic physique. He could compete in that. So he would be a bodybuilder. But same thing with Chris, what's his name? The guy who played Thor, Chris Hemsworth? Is that his name?
Hemsworth, yeah. It was one of the Hemsworths.
Yeah, if he had a little bit better calves, he could compete in classic physique. That is a bodybuilder.
Here's the thing, though. I kind of wonder, though, when you talk about well-known actors like Jason Momoa, Chris Hemsworth,
is it the personality?
I think it might be the personality too, like on top of that.
It's the total score, like we talked about before.
Because people have seen him in movies, and it's like, oh, he seems like a cool dude, or he's funny, or something like that. So that might be like adding to his attractiveness also.
It is. Women are into the total score. But if you listen to women talking, and you can, AI can lift it out, and I've seen other shows where they point out what women across the world have said about those two different dudes. Even from other countries. Like, for instance, in China, the ideal male form is actually slender, svelte, kind of like a K-pop guy, almost feminine looking, right? But they'll look at Chris, and they'll look at fucking Jason Momoa, and they'll fucking love those dudes, and they'll put them over the K-pop stars. And the comments are things like this: those dudes are built so well. Look at fucking Jason, that hair. He looks so wild, very sexy. And those girls don't even like facial hair, and he's got facial hair. Okay? And they look at Chris, and they're just talking about his build. He's strong, but he's well balanced. It's not too much. That's what they're saying. But here's the thing. Chris Hemsworth has got a lot of fucking muscle on him. In the 50s, that would be considered huge. And the reason why they're saying they don't like bodybuilders is because when you fucking say bodybuilder to a lot of modern women, they're thinking of a dude who is competing on fucking Olympia in the open class. You know what I mean? He's a mass monster.
Yeah.
He's not about beauty.
And he spends all his time in the gym.
Boom.
And he might be like a rage monster or something like that. Well, I kind of feel like bodybuilders...
They probably think that. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Bodybuilders might get a bad rap because it's like they think, well, he's not going to have any time for me. He's just going to be in the gym all the time.
Yeah. But here's another misconception, though. Ronnie Coleman, he was fucking huge. Big, huge black guy. He was the king of all kings in the open class. He was a mass monster. He's big. I didn't really like how he looked. He wasn't really a handsome guy. I can understand why women didn't want that. But Ronnie was cool. He was not a rage monster.
Yeah.
And another thing about Ronnie is that You would think that, like you said, that dude would be in the gym all the time, just thinking about. He actually wasn't.
Yeah.
I think he only worked out 3 times a week.
Well, that's the perception.
Yeah, it's just the perception. He worked out like 3 times a week and probably put about 3 hours in at a time. And a lot of it's socializing. He got big like that because he had fantastic genetics and he was taking a lot of fucking PEDs. A lot of testosterone, a lot of steroids. Really, what makes a difference with those dudes is how much they're taking and how their genetics handle it. I couldn't take that much and get that big. I wouldn't get that big. I'd get sick before I got that big. It was just his genes, the way he was responding to it. But if you were to take Chris Hemsworth, the standards have changed. You take Chris Hemsworth, and then you take Jason Momoa, right? You look at him now, these girls are saying, well, that's not a bodybuilder. You move him back to 1960, he would be. He'd be one of the bigger dudes in 1960. He'd be a big fucking guy on fucking, Mr. America, Mr. Universe. And it's called classic physique. That's when you have a nice V taper, little waist, big shoulders, okay legs, decent calves, big arms, nice big chest. Arnold. Arnold was a fucking kind of like the pinnacle of classic physique. If you got any bigger than Arnold, that's not really classic. That's starting to go into like Mass Monster, what you got bigger than him. The idea with classic is to fucking look like a hood ornament, basically. You're trying to look like the dude fucking, the dude from used to play all in the Hercules movies. What was his name?
Yeah, Steve Reeves.
Steve Reeves. Steve Reeves is fucking gorgeous. And that's really what they're looking for. And Steve Reeves and Momoa and all those guys, you could set them side by side, they'd all look like they were all fucking brothers. But what Asian girls who are into the slender bodies were saying is to say, no, they liked that figure also. But they didn't call it a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
When that's really what it is.
Well, and the thing about it, too, is that women don't just like one thing. Like I said, it's
a
conditional.
mixture.
Like I said, if I met a dude, if I was single, and like I met a dude that was like super slender K-pop, and he was like super cool and everything like that, I could be into that.
You could roll with it, right.
Or if I met a dude that was like a big like bodybuilder type, and he was really cool, I could roll with that too.
There you go.
I could roll with that too.
Thank you. That's true. What Jen has just said has actually kind of reinforced my point. It's not that women don't like bodybuilders. Women like cool dudes. If you're a bodybuilder, that's even a fucking...
It's all conditional.
That's a bonus. If you're real skinny, that's a bonus. You like that little kid from Dune? Dude who played fucking...
Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah. I can understand why girls like him. He's slender. Yeah. He's got a fucking cool face. In that movie, he projected power. I was buying it once he became the His Ass Cataract. I was okay, yeah. Paul Atreides, goddammit. He went from little and fucking kind of scrawny to becoming the Messiah.
Yeah, he sold that.
And I was like, yeah.
He's a good actor. Yeah. I like him.
And I guarantee you they liked him more as the Messiah, but the female audience liked that progression.
Yeah.
Where he went from the nerdy, scholarly, little dweeby guy to the fucking Messiah. That was I bought into it.
Yeah.
Way he's moving, the way he's carrying himself was okay. The skinny look, a lot of rock stars rocked that shit for fucking...
Yeah.
Whoo!
Like I said, I like that too.
Yeah, so you can do that fucking...
I like that too. It all depends on
It's just another way. Right.
It all depends on the whole package,
I said. Now, female aesthetics, the same thing. I've seen some muscle girls that look fucking great. I've seen fat girls that look great. It just depends on how they're carrying it. Some of these Instagram girls with the big fucking asses and huge tits and a little bitty waists and stuff, you can tell that maybe some plastic surgeries happened, maybe some filters. I'm not sure exactly what has happened inside, but they have videos, so it looks like that's actually them. That looks good too. So what Jen is saying about men, that also applies towards men's opinion of women. It's not just one thing. It's a lot of things. As long as you have a certain style that's striking and it has some novelty to it, it stands out. That's you getting your foot in the door. If you've got a good personality and everything else will go along with it, you're going to be successful.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just like, if you're just kind of like a standard white dude with the same white dude haircut and you have like a little polo shirt and some khakis and
there's nothing to
Crocs,
distinguish you from anybody else.
Like you look just like all the others.
Yeah.
They all look the same.
Well, what that does is that goes back. Now we're taking it back to the Far East, in Korea and Japan and China. The women and the men complain about each other being all kind of like the same. That there's no novelty, there's no exoticness. It's because those cultures are very conformist, and they're very much collectivist, where being different is bad in those cultures. So you get punished for being different, but if you're the same, you also get punished because you're just going to blend in. You're just going to be generic. If I was in that situation, I'd be as different as I possibly could. I'd just take the heat.
Yeah,
and I ain't lying because I'm
just to be spiteful.
Just to be fucking spiteful. And because I'm a goth, I did that shit back in the fucking 90s. You know, fucking be different than everybody else.
When people,
I got a lot more success. Yeah, because you stand out now. So it's much better to stand out for some reason than to just be lost in the fucking crowd.
Yeah, because a lot of people are just kind of invisible, you know.
Yeah. Now some dudes would do it the wrong way. You're a generic motherfucker and you want to stand out, so you're going to wear a stupid-ass fucking Mexican sombrero to the club. Or
oh, yeah, we've seen that.
There's dudes like that.
That's not the way to do it.
No.
Sorry.
No. Like, fucking, what the fuck is a sombrero? You know, no.
Yeah, like, I don't like that zany bullshit.
You do.
And a Hawaiian shirt.
And a Hawaiian shirt. You do a lot better just fucking dressed as a fucking furry. Furries would show up and start dancing and everybody fucking loving on the furry.
Hey, furries!
We don't know what the furries even look like. They're just sitting there.
Because they're furries.
Yeah, we don't know.
You know what? You'd probably do better. Why don't you just show up dressed like a 20s gangster? Like, get a zoot suit or something. Something.
Yeah.
Do something distinctive.
Yeah, something distinctive.
But not dorky.
Yeah.
Like I said.
Something futuristic like out of Blade Runner.
Yeah, that'd be cool too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or something classic, like fucking classic leather from the 1920s or 30s. Look like something that jumped off a motorcycle from the 1920s or 30s.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or like a 50s greaser.
Yeah, even that.
Like something. You could even do that. You could even rock that.
Yeah, depending on your age.
Depending on, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it's all kind of, depending on what you look like. You know, there's certain looks that
what you're wearing's got to match what your personality, what you look like.
Yeah, like you said, I kind of feel like sometimes these sort of generic white dudes that come to the club sometimes, not so much Barbarella, but I'm thinking more mannequins. Like you said, they'll stand out by just like, look, I have a wacky hat on.
Yeah, I got
waka waka.
I showed up to the club
like
with
that.
A fish hanging from a cord around my neck. You know,
wow,
what the fuck
you're
that
so
means.
crazy.
Yeah, aren't you wild and crazy? Yeah.
No, you're just a douche.
Yeah.
Knock it off.
Knock it off. Nah, show up with that fucking outfit from the fucking kid from Dune, man. Fucking in his that's cataract outfit. Show up like that, and that bitch has got to be fantastic. Show up in a fucking kilt, like from the Black Guard, from the Scottish Black Guard, like the real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that.
Do that.
Be like, what the fuck? And you're sitting there with your pipe. Yeah. You know. Whatever.
Yeah, like I said, do shit like that.
Something
Take it kind of seriously, though.
Yeah.
Like I said, don't just be like, hey, I put on this wacky thing that I bought at Party City.
If you notice that the wacky thing has always cost around $20.
Yeah.
It's not $400.
Like, look, I got these giant wacky sunglasses.
Yeah.
I'm so crazy.
Look, man, my little goth boots that I wear, these fucking new rock boots and shoes. I got 3 pairs. These are $400.
I mean, they last forever.
They last forever. Yeah. These are like $400.
They last forever.
All right.
They are worth it.
Handmade Italian shit.
I thought they were Spanish.
Spanish, excuse me. I was thinking Italian because I was thinking of Bally's. Wasn't Bally's Italian?
I don't remember.
But they might be Spanish too. I don't know. But fucking a lot of that goth stuff that people were wearing is expensive.
Yeah.
And you have people who don't know the scene fucking wouldn't know. Punk rockers and poor people. What are you talking about, man? That chick's wearing fucking $2,000 worth of fucking clothes.
Or they'll go to they'll go to
talking about.
They'll go to Spirit Halloween and buy the goth costume.
The goth costume and wear that shit. Yeah, for fucking $20.
For $20 or however much it is.
Yeah, that's like a $200 corset and that's like a $400 pair of boots and fucking that dress was about $100 and just you never can't tell.
Like I said, we take the shit seriously, man. The aesthetics. I take the music more seriously, but the aesthetics is also quite important.
Yeah, $200 fucking custom made leather belt.
Do it, and the thing is, the shit doesn't have to be expensive.
No,
you can put together a really good outfit for not that much.
Yeah.
But you have to know what you're doing. Like you have to kind of know what goes together. And
well, in the goth scene though, there's certain things that are brand name. That if you do go with that, people will know. Oh, okay. Yeah, the entry level fucking boots and footwear would be Demonia.
Yeah, because they're not terribly expensive.
They're not terribly expensive.
It's about $100-$120 for like a knee-high pair of boots that are decent. They'll last like a year or two.
Yeah, that's a lot more than that.
Well, it depends. But mine usually wear out because I dance in them a lot, so they don't last that long.
But that's a lot better than, say, like some boots you got from Shein.
Yeah.
Or from...
Although I've got some good shoes from
Yeah, Demonias are made better.
They are.
And then you start getting above that. They used to have Penagaglin, but they're gone. Used to have Fluvog, they're gone. Now you got fucking New Rock. And New Rock's been around since the 90s. And that's all real cowhide and fucking handmade shit. Fucking. The thing is the metal accessories and the bumpers on the front and the back start crack. That's
after a while. But you can replace them.
Yeah, or you put fucking leather fucking covers instead of the metal covers. Or you can customize them as you go. And anything that goes wrong with those because of what they're made out of, you can send them to a shoe store and they can fix it. Yeah, it's real leather.
That's kind of the nice thing about those expensive. Like, yeah, it's a big splash out at one time, but
you'll never have to buy them again.
But you don't have to buy them again.
Yeah, I got a pair of New Rock shoes that got to be 20 years old. They look good. They look brand new.
I've still got Doc Martens that I bought back in the early 90s. Or late 80s, maybe. And they still look almost brand new. I got, like, way behind. Brian is here. Sound boy. Hi, Tom and Jenny. Love you guys. We love you, too. Victor Garcia said, the boob reveal from Just One of the Guys made me straight. I remember that movie. We should probably review that one of these days. I used to really like that movie. John Gore said, Hemsworth has a prettier face and a better actor. I think out of the two of them, like, I'm not super into either one of them, and I haven't really seen that many of their movies or anything. I kind of feel I'd lean more toward Jason Momoa, I guess, just because he's more interesting looking. Like, he has kind of...
He has more of an exotic
He has more of, like, a distinctive looking look, whereas Chris Hemsworth is much more, like, white bread, like, a lot more generic looking.
Well, to you, because he's the same race as you. Same ethnic group. So you're used to those features. Koreans and Japanese girls will prefer him over Momoa.
Yeah,
they like Momoa also, though. And here's the thing about those two dudes. I saw a whole show that fucking tracked those dudes back on their histories. They're not good looking because they're jacked. They were good looking before they were jacked. They showed them what they looked like when they were kids, when they were young, before they got big, and they're teens and shit. And Momoa was a pretty boy.
Yeah.
You look at him now, he's fucking kind of wild looking, you know what I mean? He was a pretty boy. And then he got big. The main difference between the two is that Momoa's got much thicker eyebrows, and the way they're built is in a way that women tend to like. They're not real heavy, and they're not real low, and they're also not real arched. They're almost kind of... There's no way to describe them. I saw computer renditions of the other eyebrows he could have had, but he's got really good eyebrows, and then he has good facial hair, and he has long, nice hair. And if you have long, pretty, bitch ass hair, women will fucking love that because
if it looks like you take care of it.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I said. Long, pretty ass hair. And the explanation that we believe what's happening with this is that it's a signal of very good health and genetics if you have high quality hair, and that women know about hair. They have long hair, so if they recognize a dude's got pretty long hair, they go, he takes care of his hair.
Yeah, because long hair is kind of a pain in the ass.
He's a well-groomed dude.
Yeah.
And what
it's a time commitment.
And what that infers is that fucking when them pants come off, he's going to be well groomed.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of things like
there's a lot of things that women go through their head.
Yeah, like I don't know if it subconsciously goes through your head. But well, sometimes it does.
Yeah, it might.
Sometimes it does.
Yeah.
I mean, particularly like when, because we've said this before, like if I see a dude dancing.
Yeah.
and he's like a really good dancer.
Yeah.
Like a lot of women will think he's probably good in the sack too.
Yeah.
Like, because if you can move like that. And the opposite is also true. If you can't dance at all, then women are probably going to be like, oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would look at Momoa and Chris Hemsworth. I would say, just off the top of my fucking head, because those are basically drama. Those are drama kids, really. They're from drama class. Those dudes are probably fucking both commando. They're shaved and they probably have fucking patches. So I don't think they're fucking... In other words, below the waist, they're trimmed like porn stars.
Maybe got like a little happy trail.
Yeah, they would know better. They're not going to be these furry motherfuckers with dingle balls and dingleberries and shit hanging in their ass. They would.
I would hope not.
Those dudes know better. They're with high-end women and they know about the stage and drama, and they know about porn, and they know about that. And they know about image and how things work, how things look. Both of those dudes know how to put on makeup, because they put on makeup. They learned that in drama class.
Well, yeah.
So they wear makeup.
Yeah.
Okay. Which a lot of these straight guys. Fuck you talking about? I used to wear makeup all the time. Fucking women love dudes that wear makeup.
Especially
a little bit of eyeliner, a little bit of foundation, some shadow, and fucking if you know what you're doing, fucking.
I like a dude in eyeliner.
Yeah, I would. When I was going full on vampire drag in the fucking.
It's gonna storm out.
In the fucking goth clubs, I looked pasty white with purple fucking eyeshadow and fucking liquid liner and stuff, and fucking it looked great for the time. You really can't do that now unless I'm gonna go to a full on vampire event.
Yeah, unless it's like a big, huge event or something.
You'll go that way, but. And then other times, fucking like if I was going on a fetish night instead of a fucking goth night, it was basically just a little bit of shadow, maybe some concealer if I had a problem anywhere, on my face at the time, and eyeliner. And I had more success with just a little bit of eyeliner.
Yeah.
And
I like eyeliner.
Yeah, and I think a lot of those women back in those days didn't realize I had eyeliner on.
Yeah, maybe not.
Because it's subtle. I do it real subtle.
Yeah.
It just looked like I had real nice black eyelashes.
Yeah.
It
makes your eyes pop more.
You make your eyes pop, yeah.
And you have those nice green eyes, so...
Yeah.
So it made them stand out more, probably. Full Metal Nosferatu says Momoa also has that scar on his eyebrow.
Yeah.
So that might help.
Yeah.
Oh, DVD Dragon said Momoa got that scar in a bar fight. The assailant got 5 years in prison.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't know that. Like I said, I don't know a lot about him, honestly. Honestly, really the only things I've seen him in were Aquaman and maybe a couple other things. That was the main thing I remember.
The comments that were lifted off of the Korean internet, Korean social media, the comments about Momoa was like, he's wild. I bet that dude's wild as hell. Look at him. He looks like something out of fucking like a jungle movie.
But he also seems like he'd be like a really fun, nice dude.
Yeah, but then they were also saying like about probably how good he is in bed. So,
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, they were saying he's got to be really good in bed, and then like the girls were saying like, yeah, nobody'd ever fuck with you because he just beat people up.
Yeah, because he's fucking huge.
Yeah, just like having your own.
But like I
don't think he's that big. I think he's probably maybe 6 feet. Huh?
But like I said, I think the thing that's appealing about him is that he looks kind of like a wild man.
Yeah.
But he also comes across as like really nice and really approachable and really funny. So it's like he has like two good things.
He's very handsome. He's got good. Fucking island boy genetics. He's got some island.
Yeah, and like he seems like he has like a lot of. He's like very charismatic.
He's not Samoan. He's
no.
He's some kind of Polynesian, I think, right?
Shit, I don't know. I'm not sure actually. I mean, you could probably look it up.
Yeah.
Or somebody could look it up. I don't know.
Some kind of Polynesian.
Tammy said when we were talking about people dressed showing up at the club, she's like, so I could just show up in a Mrs. Roper muumuu.
Yeah.
I mean. I don't know. Like, you could maybe... I'm not sure. You could maybe rock that. I'm not really sure. Anything could be done, really, if you do it the right way.
If you know what you're doing, it's funny.
A Mrs. Roper muumuu.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly...
You know...
I don't know what you look like, either. So that's the thing. Depends on what you look like.
Because Mrs. Roper also had like those big necklaces with those big huge. Because remember how that was a thing?
Yeah.
I remember my great aunt wearing those, like those necklaces that were like this big huge fucking beads like this big, like and there's like a bunch of them like in different colors, like orange and lavender and shit like that. Like she always had those on too, and so I feel like she always had like a bunch of rings, like big rings on too. Because hey, that movie that we just did with Burt Reynolds the other day, the end, that had Norman Fell in it.
Yeah.
It was Mr. Roper. Well, one of the Mr. Ropers. No, he was the only Mr. Roper because wasn't the later seasons, wasn't fucking Don Knotts? Mr. Furley?
I think
didn't
so.
He become their landlord later?
Don Knotts came over.
And didn't the Ropers, didn't they get a spin-off show? Didn't they get their own show?
It's been so long, I don't remember.
I don't think I ever watched it. Yeah. I did watch Three's Company sometimes, like back in the day. But I feel like the Ropers got their own show, and I think it was just called the Ropers.
Full Metal Nosferatu said something, but I can't really see it. It's behind that thing. That last fucking...
Where?
It's the last one.
Oh, Momoa and Bautista have an action buddy cop movie in production.
Oh, do they?
Oh, see, now that might be
it might be good.
That maybe we're seeing.
Bautista's not big anymore, though. He's fucking tiny now. He came off the sauce for some reason. He said, well, I can't get a bunch of roles, when I'm looking like that. I think there's more to it than that. I think he came down with some kind of health problem because...
Yeah, maybe.
He got big. And he wasn't a young dude. You know what I mean? And I don't know how long he's been on the sauce. Probably a long time. Your heart can only take so much of that. If you're 250 pounds of damn near pure muscle and above, that's harder on your heart than being 250 pounds of fat. Probably like twice as hard.
Is denser.
Because you just have to, your heart has to pump blood through all those blood vessels and all those capillaries to feed that muscle. The human heart is not big enough to supply blood to that much muscle. Not long term. Fuck your valves up. Your heart will be nice and strong, man. It's just that it's wearing those valves out because they can't get any stronger because they're made out of cartilage. They can't grow. So in his case, I think he got too big for too long and he started having heart problems. That's I think. So he backed off. It's great getting big. It's not as fun getting smaller. So that's why I don't want to get any bigger really than I am. I don't want to go over 200 pounds. And I'm at 180 right now. 182, 183. And I'm losing fat. If I lose another 3 pounds of fat, I'll be a male fitness model. My six-pack's just starting to come in. I got one, but it's just not a great one. Love handle's pretty much gone.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
I got about another 3 pounds of fat. If I lose 3 pounds of fat, I'll be down to probably about 6% body fat. I'll look good. I'll cut some videos. Sell to you fags. Y'all will love it. I'll be going solo and shit. I'll be fucking jamming like that, looking in the camera at you. Casting my fucking spell on you. Yeah. We'll see. But
Tammy says Jason Momoa is 6'4".
He's 6'4",
and
okay.
He is Hawaiian, Samoan, Irish, and Native American.
Okay, so he's a mix. Okay, Samoan and Western mixed. All right. He's a good-looking guy. My hat's off to him. Women like him. I saw him in that Aquaman, man. He fucking knocked it out of the park. He looked great in that.
I want to go back. Enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, I want to go back and see him again in that Conan. I didn't like that movie, but I probably would like seeing him in it. You know what I mean? Just to see Momoa. I didn't like his Conan though. The writing wasn't good.
Probably need another drink, huh?
Yeah, either that or we shut it down. It's getting that time actually.
Is it?
Almost.
Well, I mean it's Friday night. I haven't had that many drinks.
Yeah, okay. Let me hear. You drink this.
Okay. Why don't I?
And when this is done, we'll split a Coke. And we'll split a Coke and we'll get some. Drink that because I don't want to drink much more.
Okay. Yeah, Full Metal says Bautista really wants to be taken seriously as an actor and not typecast as just a muscular action star. I get that.
That's what he said.
I'd hate to be the makeup FX artist who has to airbrush his tattoos.
That's what he's saying. I'm not sure I buy it. Because, look, I've been on a sauce for 4 years. I've done a lot of other drugs, you know, fucking LSD, fucking snorted coke, fucking weed. I haven't done any fucking smoked opium. I haven't done any heroin or anything that I couldn't come back from. None of that bullshit, crack or anything.
Yeah, no.
I only did like good, and
you always did good drugs.
Yeah, only good drugs. And once you start getting on test and gear, it's kind of addictive. You don't want to come off of them. So I think he had to come off of them. And he's not off of everything. He's taking tests. At his age, a man's going to be on test anyway. It's just that he's not fucking... As big as he was living on cycle. He had to have been. Just because when you have that much muscle, it's going to require a shit ton of substances at his age just to maintain it. I'm not even talking about growth. I'm talking about maintaining. So his demands would have been pretty high. And I think he started to come down with some fucking health signs that it was starting that he was in danger. So I think he scaled everything back. And without having all that gear under there as support to support that amount of muscle, you'll lose it. He doesn't look bad. It just doesn't look like the Batista that you know. He's slender, kind of cut. And
I haven't seen him in a long time, so I wouldn't know.
I can show you a picture of him. He doesn't look bad. It just does not look like the guy that you know. The Batista that you know was just massive. You know?
Yeah, I just remember him being like a big...
Yeah, he doesn't look like that now.
Like that.
I'm going to show you.
Head,
I'm going to show you what he looks like now.
Klaus is on here saying, I love food. Food is really cool. I really like it.
I love food too, bitch.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm also drunk. Am I blocked?
We're drunk. No, we're drunk too, bro. You're good to go.
No, you're fine.
Get yourself a taco.
Get yourself a taco.
Get a fucking taco.
Or two.
Yeah.
A fish taco. Fish tacos.
Okay.
Let me see.
I'm gonna show you.
Like I said, I haven't seen him in... I don't think I've seen him since the trailer for My Spy. When the fuck was that? That was
this
like
is what he looks like now.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
He's much smaller.
Okay, I wouldn't even recognize him.
You wouldn't recognize him.
No, I wouldn't recognize him the same
Yeah.
person. Well, the beard doesn't. That's...
Yeah.
I think the white beard is... Yeah, I would have thought that was a different dude.
You would have thought it was a different dude. I know him as that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said.
That.
Well, and actually, like, looking at him like that, he's not as big as I remembered. They always put him in, like, big suits and stuff like that. So I was just got the impression of him as just this big... square
when you look at him
shape.
That's what he looked like. My proportions are actually better than that.
Yeah, that's his facial expression is cracking.
Yeah.
In that picture he's just like wah wah.
There he is at his prime.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So he's off of sauce.
Yeah.
You're on the shit there. He's traded. I mean, he looks great right there.
Yeah, I didn't realize he had that.
Oh, shit. What the fuck, man? What is wrong with my shit?
I don't know. What are you yelling at me for?
Yeah. That's how I think of him.
Smug say 97. Just finished a D&D game. How's it going? Oh, pretty good. You know, Friday night we're getting... Well, I don't want to say we're getting hammered. I'm not hammered. I'm just like a little bit buzzed. That's all.
Look at the difference. That's what Bautista looks like now. Look how skinny he is now.
See, I wouldn't even know that was him.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think the white beard is throwing me off too.
Yeah, I'm just going to say...
Because I just always remember him not having a beard, but I guess he did have a beard from time to time.
And he's not that old.
I've only seen him in a couple of
I
things,
think he's close to my age. Let me see how old he is.
Well, yeah, you need to look that shit up. It's kind of hilarious sometimes because it's like, I still have a weird thing where I see somebody in a movie.
He's the same age as me.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I see somebody in a movie and I just automatically think of that person as older than me. But then sometimes I look and they're like younger than I am, and it's like that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Me and Bautista are the same age. All right. This is him a long time ago. Let's see what he looks like now.
Yeah, Full Metal said, Tom, I think Bautista put on additional weight for Blade Runner 2049 and Knock at the Cabin. Which, okay, so have any of y'all seen Knock at the Cabin? Because I haven't seen it yet. Like, I know it came out like a few years ago. I read the book that it was based on, the Paul Tremblay book, Cabin at the End of the World. And I actually really, really liked it. Not my favorite Paul Tremblay, but it was really, really good. And I heard mixed reviews about the movie, so it's like I just never went to see it, and then I just never got around to it, and then I kind of forgot about it. But if it's worth watching, like, let me know. You know? Smugslade says, Jenny, I don't know if you take book suggestions. Oh, yeah, I take book suggestions, because I review them on my channel. But I finished an 80-page novella called Scanlines by Todd Kiesling. I thought it was great, short and sweet, very King-inspired, I guess, or very Ring-inspired, sorry. Yeah, I'm going to write that down. Like I said, I have a book review to do next week because the author sent me a copy, and I told him I would review it, and I finished reading it today. I just, haven't got around to reading it.
Okay, Bautista at his best, he's 6'4". He weighs 240. All right,
but I wrote it down.
That could be a problem when you start pushing more than 240 pounds of that much muscle. We're not talking about 240 pounds of fat. We're talking about 240 pounds of muscle. That's a lot of stress on your heart. Here's an example. At my proportions, which are actually now better than his, I'm 5'6". I only weigh 180. Okay, and I can approach that proportions. It's a lot less stress on your heart. So in a way, short guys have an advantage. And it's always been said that short guys have an advantage in bodybuilding. We all put on weight around the same amount per year. And you could fill a short frame out a lot faster. I filled out in fucking 4 years. And most of that wasn't on steroids. Most of it was just testosterone. I really did a lot of the shit. Most of it I did in the last 2 years. You can see it in the shows if you go back through over time. I'll never break 200 pounds. Not at my frame. Not on my frame. It's just at my age, I would never get that much muscle. I'm about 180 right now. Probably when I'm done, because I want to be about 5% body fat, 5 to 6% body fat, I'll probably only weigh about 175. I'll look bigger, but I'll only be 175. It's because I've lost more fat. Somewhere around there. 176. And I don't think I'll get any heavier than that. If I were to here's an example. If I was 2% body fat, weighed 200 pounds, that is the proportions of fucking Arnold's fucking friend, the Italian guy, Sardinian guy, fucking and he looked huge. He was only 5'5", but he weighed 200 pounds. He looked bigger than the Hulk. And he did that when he was fucking in his early 20s. I couldn't do it at my age. What's that guy's name? Fucking I almost said it. Started with a P. Franco Colombo. Franco Colombo, he was a lightweight bodybuilder. He could not break 200 pounds. If he did, he'd end up having to go into heavyweights. So he's always right there around 199, 200. He looked amazing. But I couldn't reach 200 pounds. Not at my age. Want to see what he looked like? He was my size, 200 pounds.
I know what he looked like.
You know that? Okay.
Full Metal says, I saw it once, Knock at the Cabin. It was okay. Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard it was okay. I'll probably still see it because, like I said, I really liked the book. And I'm just kind of curious to see how the movie adaptation turned out. Full Metal also said Bautista was over 300 pounds when he wrestled. Smugsaid says, I love Dave Bautista in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Yeah, that's right. He's in those too, isn't he? Haven't seen much of his work outside of those movies, though. Still have to see Blade Runner 2049. I loved Blade Runner 2049. I wasn't sure going into it that I was, because I love Blade Runner, but I was like, well, how can this be any good? But man, it was really good. I really liked it. Yeah, and Tammy said, I don't think people realize how big some of those wrestlers are unless you see them in person.
Yeah.
That's Franco at 200 pounds, standing next to Arnold. That's only 20 pounds of more muscle than I have. That is fucking amazing. But I couldn't do that at my age. He's young doing that. And yeah, they're on gear, easily. But that was classic physique back in the 70s. Some amazing shit. There's another good picture of Franco. It's hard to believe that he only weighs 20 pounds more than me. But I gotta ask myself, would I want to look like that? You wouldn't look good in clothes like that. You'd only look good with your clothes off.
If you put a suit on, you'd look like fucking Gumby or SpongeBob SquarePants.
That's kind of the thing about a lot of the bodybuilders, depending on what their build is like.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they look fine when they have little Speedos on, like at the competition.
Yeah.
But put them in a suit or something, and
you
like,
look
yeah,
stupid,
like you say, you look kind of like...
Yeah.
Kind of look like a dork. Because you're just so big. Well, it's just kind of like... You know how sometimes, like, women that are kind of, like, more voluptuous and they have, like, real big tits and stuff?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes when they have clothes on...
They look fat.
They kind of just look fat, even though they're not fat.
Yeah. You take your clothes off and you go, oh.
And you're like, oh, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Because clothes, like, cover up so much of... You know what I mean? Unless you get something, like, really, really form-fitting. But if you just wear a sweatshirt or something like that, you're just going to look like a box. You know? That's why it's better to get everything... If you have big boobs, you have to get everything, like, fitted. Because otherwise, everything just hangs. And you look like you're pregnant. So. Tammy said you have to walk around flexing. Yes. Just walk around like that all the time. Just walk around in your panties. They just have to walk around in panties. They just can't wear clothes. That's how it goes. You know? I guess. Full Metal says, I still want to see the Killers game with Dave Bautista. Yeah, I haven't seen that one either. Like I said, I feel like... What the fuck have I seen him in? I saw him he was in Guardians of the Galaxy. I saw that. I saw Blade Runner 2049. He was in that. Like, it wasn't a huge... he wasn't a huge part in that, but he was in it. I know I've seen him in other things. I feel like I see him mostly in trailers for things, but then I end up not seeing the movies. Full Metal also says, didn't Jim Belushi's character in Red Heat call Arnold Gumby when he wore his green suit?
Yeah. Jim Belushi looked like... Cause he looked like,
forgot all about that.
He looked like
movie.
fucking Gumby. I saw that and they go, yeah, that bitch does look... You can't... If you've got a real broad chest, like... Okay. In classic physique, the whole idea is to have a real narrow, waspish waist and a really big upper body. And it's got to have a nice, what's called a V-taper. All right? You want big shoulders, big pecs, nice big arms. They didn't focus too much on legs, but you had to have good calves and good thighs. But it wasn't... Nowadays, in open class, they'll try to put as much weight on the leg as they possibly can. It's not aesthetic. Aesthetic is the word we talk about in the Greek arts, as in Greek science, as we don't want to say pretty or beautiful because then it sound gay. So we just say aesthetic. Okay, the aesthetics. If you have too much on the leg, if you're a man, and too much on the top, it doesn't work right. So you want to look more like a fucking hood ornament, like something out of a fucking 1920s car. Nice V-taper, good legs, big arms. That looks great in form-fitting clothes. You put that dude in a fucking suit that isn't tailored right, it's kind of fucking baggy, you just look a square box.
Yeah. Because
you can't see the V-taper. It's the same as these girls with these fucking big-ass titties. They look great naked. Or in fucking bikinis and shit. Or in the, or in some porn flick. You put her in regular clothes, she looks like she's in a muumuu.
Yeah.
Because the shirt just hangs off the titty, and you go, well, where's the titty? Where's the belly begin?
Yeah.
So really, if you have huge titties like that, a girl has to wear a really tight, form-fitting shirt.
Yeah, otherwise you just look fat.
Yeah, that way people can see that this is boob we're talking about here, not belly. The same applies for bodybuilder guys. You got to be in shit that's tight, so you can see that that's not fat. That's fucking that he's cut. You know, and really, dudes like Arnold and shit as big as they were, looked best without a shirt.
Oh, I'm sure they knew it too.
Yeah, if he did have a shirt, he looked best. You put a shirt on him now, all of a sudden you're adding bulk to it. If he wanted to look good in a shirt, a real tight wife beater type shirt, that would look good. Or a skin tight, like spandex short sleeve shirt type thing, like this, basically, something that's tight. If I were to put something on that was loose and baggy, I'd just look fat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Gore says, whatever happened to Joe Piscopo? That's
I don't know, Joe Piscopo.
That's a dude I
Probably
haven't thought
dead
of in a
gone.
long
Yeah.
time.
He probably dead.
He got into bodybuilding, then just disappeared.
Yeah.
I got to see Dead Heat someday. I remember seeing parts of that movie. Man, it's weird to think like how Joe Piscopo was kind of a thing for a minute back in the 90s.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't feel was he ever like super A-list? I mean, he was recognized. Everybody knew who he was, but yeah, whatever happened to that dude? I don't know.
I don't know.
Is he still alive? It's the same thing. That happened.
Probably.
I kind of feel like it's the same era as like Pauly Shore and all that kind of shit. Oh my god, I was at Barbarella last week and I was talking to this guy at the bar, and we got to talking about fucking Yahoo Serious. You remember Yahoo Serious? That fucking. He was like a thing for like 5 seconds. Back in, I guess it was the 90s, maybe it was the late 80s. But he was an Australian dude, and he was in a movie, like an Australian movie called Young Einstein, I think is what it was called. And he kind of became like a little bit of a sensation for a little while, but then like we're like, whatever happened to that guy? Like he was in like a movie or two, and then he just like fucking disappeared. They were trying to make him a thing, and I guess it just didn't work out. Full Metal said Piscopo got into bodybuilding after surviving cancer.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
I didn't even remember that.
Yeah, I remember. He got big. He got big. He looked great.
So did Carrot Top.
Yeah. Well, that's because people were fucking with him because of the way he looked.
Well,
So
it
he's
didn't
like-
really help because now he looks even more freakish.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he had weird genetics.
I think it would help if he cut his hair. That might help.
That part of it. And dye that shit. He was a weird ass ginger, and he got pretty fucking big, but he looked like an insane clown
He did, yeah.
with his mouth and his teeth and shit like that.
Full Metal said, I heard Yahoo Serious has hit hard times, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I hadn't really thought about him for a long time, but just for some reason, like, the student at the bar just, like, brought him up randomly. He was, like, the same age as us. I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit, I thought I had forgotten all about Yahoo Serious. And then we were wondering whatever had happened to him. But we didn't have our phones with us, so I couldn't look it up. But it's just kind of was like, yeah, that was weird. That was a thing for a minute.
Yeah.
I kind of remember, I saw that movie because it was on cable. I remember being funny, but, like, not that funny, you know? Like, not so much that I remembered anything about it. Yeah, Tammy said Carrot Top had some weird plastic surgery also. Yeah, I think that's mostly what happened with his face.
One of the times I saw
think
him,
that was plastic
He looked like
surgery.
some kind of weird ass trans chick. For a while.
Yeah, like I said, I think he did get a lot of facial surgeries that
Yeah.
were maybe not ideal. So, I don't know. He's just a fucking... I don't know. I get that it probably sucks getting picked on for what you look like all the time. So I get that it's like you might want to fix it, but I think he went about it in the wrong way. And and made himself look even fucking weirder than he did before. Which is probably the same thing that happened with fucking Michael Jackson, right? Because he looked fine.
Mm-hmm.
Then he looked slightly less fine, but still okay. And then you're like, what the fuck? Like, then he just didn't even look like a human anymore. Like, what was that about? I think that some people have a weird thing where they get so much into the plastic surgery that it's like they don't even care that it doesn't look good anymore, or they're deluded enough to think that it still looks good even when it clearly does not.
I think it's addictive, like a
I
body,
think so,
like
too.
a body modifications, like tattoos. Some people get one tattoo, they want to keep getting more and more and more of it. So
Yeah.
they get a surgery and it doesn't come out the way they thought, so they get another one, and then it doesn't quite come out like they thought, so they get another one and another one and another. Next thing you know, they're fucking weird as shit.
And then they're like all fucking strange.
Yeah,
looking.
and it's a Hollywood surgeon, and they just want the money. And they're like, "Look, you're gonna get weirder and weirder looking, but I need the money, so I'm gonna do it on you." Like that happened to
well,
Michael
I'm sure
Jackson.
they probably tell them. It's like,
Yeah.
look, this is probably what you're gonna look like, and you're gonna look like a circus freak. No, do it anyway. Okay, your money, bro. You know what I mean? I'd probably take the money too, to be honest with you. Some look, they're an adult, so. I mean, I would warn them. I'd probably like show them a picture and be like, well, this is probably what it's going to come out looking like at this stage. And if they said, go ahead and do it anyway, I'd be like, all right, your funeral. Up to you. But, you know, I'm not like averse to certain body modifications. Like, I don't even think it's that, like, you know, if you want to be, like, for example, that dude that, I think it was a dude that had like all his puzzle pieces like tattooed all over himself. He was in the Jim Rose circus. What was his name? The Enigma, I think is what he was called. But that was his shtick, you know what I mean? He was in a circus, he was a performer, and that was his look. That's like what he wanted, and I was just like, okay, like he seemed like he wasn't doing it for, he was just a performer and he just wanted to look extreme, and it's like, okay. But I think the problem arises when sometimes people think they want to look good or they want to look prettier, but then, like you said, they maybe get surgery and it doesn't turn out like, oh, that wasn't as drastic as I was expecting,
Yeah.
or that wasn't as good as I was expecting, and it's like, I need to do it
another
again.
one, yeah.
So it's like, then they just keep doing it, and then it becomes like this fucking, and then
Right.
every time they do it, it just is diminishing returns, and then they just start looking weirder and weirder. You know?
Yeah, well, there are also some girls that are actually looking for that look. They're the whole bimbo fetish thing about
Yeah.
where the girl's trying to have the skinniest waist possible, the biggest boobs possible, and the biggest lips as possible, and it is a fetish.
Yeah.
And they look fucking crazy. It's like hyper femininity. In a way, it is kind of sexy, but not in a way a normal, almost kind of like the way a cartoon would be sexy. You know what I mean? It's not like a normal person, but
Right.
I kind of understand it. And what's funny is that I've heard, and it's kind of confirmed every now and then, is that that's very popular with lesbians. That a lot of those girls that are doing that are actually lesbian. You would think that hyper feminine, but it makes sense because hyper masculinity is like a thing in the gay scene.
Yeah.
You know, so it's. But I think a lot of the bimbos are lesbian.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's all on a spectrum. I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
I get it, and like I said, if somebody is an adult and they have all their mental faculties, you know, some of them might have some issues, I'm sure. But like I said, if they're an adult and they're paying their own way and living their own life, you can do pretty much whatever you want to your body. It's not gonna, you know, I don't have to like it. It's not me, is it? If you want to do that, okay. Like, it has literally nothing at all to do with me. Literally. I mean, personally, I don't like the super big lips. I think it looks weird. I would never do that myself. Tom actually injected filler
Yeah.
into my, like, but not a lot. You know?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm just making a video of us doing the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what you were doing. I'm like, why are you... Why are you waving
I'm sending it to somebody I'm talking to.
Oh, why are you waving that?
Yeah.
Papa says, Shabby likes your wig today. Thank you very much. Tried to send a super chat, but it wouldn't let me. I wonder why. Like, people were sending them before. Must be just a glitch or something. Tammy says, that's me. I want more and more tattoos. I actually wouldn't mind having more. It's just, they're so expensive. Like, I have a bunch of ideas for ones I want to do, but I just never have the money. You know?
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, I did Jen's lips with lip filler. that I got. I got a machine that can
Yeah,
shoot
you
it
can
in.
buy like a... it's a pen, kind of. Well, it's not really a pen because it's bigger than a pen.
It's an injection tool.
It's like an injection thing.
Yeah.
But it's like a big... It's about that big around. And it's just got like a little thing at the end that's got like all these tiny, tiny, tiny little needles in it. And it just goes...
Actually, it's a hole.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a needle in it.
Oh, it doesn't have a needle?
No, it's a glass it's a glass ampule that you fill up with the filler. And the end of it has a tiny hole in it that acts as a spray nozzle. And you load it. You dial in on the machine how much you want to inject, and you cock it, and you press a button, and a hammer goes through and blows it in there. And when it blows through that hole, it's just like a squirt nozzle on a hose or something. You know what I mean? And it blows that amount into the fucking lip, the same way those needleless injectors.
Yeah,
like you would go
like
through.
That.
It's the same thing. It's just a mechanical version of it. And I put 2 vials in her lips. It's almost time, maybe in a month or so, to put that other third vial in there.
Yeah, because it's not as it didn't get freakishly big. Nobody was like, man, what happened to your lips or nothing like that.
Most people didn't notice.
You could see that they were bigger.
Yeah.
Like we could see it, but it's like I think most people it wasn't so, which is what I wanted. I don't really want.
Yeah, it's just an enhancement.
I just wanted it to be like a little bit bigger. I didn't want it to be so big that people were like, what the fuck, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not
did
trying
somebody,
to get
Did somebody hit you?
It's the same. It's the same shit you would inject with a needle. It's the same thing. It's just that it's easier to do to that pin. The downside is it doesn't last as long because it doesn't quite go as deep. But you can, if you stay up on it, you only have to do it like once every 6 months.
Yeah.
It's not expensive. It's like $40 for a treatment. It's not. And that $40, if you do that in a salon, they're gonna charge you several hundred.
Well, we had to buy the pen.
You gotta buy the pen.
Which
the
was
injector.
100 and something.
Yeah, the injector was like 150.
Yeah, something like that, or 100.
And then I had to fucking watch a bunch of video tutorials of
how to do it.
And you got to be careful because I did some on the lower lip one time and I went inside where they told me to, and it hit a vein and it made her lip fucking black.
Yeah, my lip went black. I mean, it
didn't last long, but.
And I always had lipstick on, so it's like nobody noticed it. But it did kind of look.
Hit a blood vessel.
Yeah, hit a blood vessel.
Yeah.
So it was like this part of my lip, like right here, was like black.
Yeah,
for like several days.
Yeah, I gotta be careful about the injection patterns. They were saying if you went in deeper around the curvature of the lip, you could get a little bit more fullness on the bottom part of the lip. They did mention though, be careful because there's a vein right here that if you go down too far, but it's hard to aim. The thing's fucking big.
It is, yeah. And lips are slippery.
Yeah. And going in there really didn't make enough difference. It wasn't worth the risk, so I'm not going to do it again.
Yeah, it's not really... No. It didn't really look that different. No. And like I said, it just kind of hurt. I mean...
Yeah. Really, for what we were doing, we really only have to do the upper lip, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Because your bottom lip, I think is good. It's big enough, really.
Yeah.
It was just the upper lip is where most of the enhancement usually goes. It's not just you. It's most women.
They're talking about tattoos. Full Metal says, my tattoos are still a work in progress. Got my first at age 19, and I'll be 51 next month, and can't wait for my next one. Papa says, Shaby is covered from head to toe with tattoos. And Tammy says, same here, but I got my first one at 30, and will be 57 in August. I got my first one when I was 18, and it was a little bitty... like a tribal, like a barn owl. And I had that for a while, but, it started getting old, and then it started kind of bleeding out. I got my Anubis a few years after that, and then the little owl that I got first was kind of starting to look kind of faded and bleeding and stuff. So I had a friend of ours do, this big arm piece here, like, to cover it up. But, I don't know, I've been wanting to do... I have an idea for a back piece I want to do, and I kind of I want all of this done too, so it's like even on both sides. You know what I mean? Like maybe do like a whole Egyptian motif like around this, because I like my Anubis tattoo, but I want to fill it out. Like I want shit around it. You know what I mean? So I don't know what to do with that, because I don't like being asymmetrical. I don't like having like a half kind of sleeve situation over here and not having it over here, like just having this little run. That kind of bugs me. I kind of like you said, that one girl that you follow on Instagram or whatever it is, that is just tattooed like black,
Yeah.
like from here down.
Yeah.
Like just this kind of, it's like almost like a shimmery, like a black. Oh, that looks really cool.
She's got patterns in there too. Though.
Yeah.
It's not just black.
But she has like a whole cool look, like altogether.
Yeah.
She has like kind of thin dreads, doesn't she?
Yeah. And
Does
she's
she
an
have, like,
artist and everything. And
she looks really cool.
And she's not black. She's actually blue.
Yeah, it's like a blue.
Yeah. I forgot what her name was. I'd pull her up. She's got one of the most tasteful body tattoos. Her whole
looks really
body's
nice.
tattooed. And it's all one motif. So it all artistically makes sense.
Yeah,
She's
that's what I like about it. It's
Yeah.
all like a whole theme,
Yeah.
and like her whole look, like it's a good look. I really like the.
She looks like some kind of elven princess or
Yeah,
something.
it's
out
cool
of a-
looking.
That's
It's
the
cool
idea.
looking.
It's got like plant looking stuff and elvish looking runes and stuff on her. She looks good.
Full Meta says, Jenny, your Anubis tattoo is badass. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I kind of just want to like expand it out, like just do kind of whole, like this to the same level as this one, so it'll be kind of the same. But I don't want to cover that up. I just want to expand it out. On my back, I wanted to do, I had kind of sketched something out a little bit, or kind of like what I wanted. I wanted to do something based on the Mask of the Red Death, the Edgar Allan Poe story. So I wanted to do like a Grim Reaper type character, but with red. But then like in the back, like all these different colored, like stained glass. Like I had like all of this idea that I wanted to do, and it looked really cool. But I just haven't been able. That would take forever, and it would be really expensive, and I just never had the money. I need to befriend a tattoo artist that'll work on me for free, or somebody that's trying to be a tattoo artist that will do shit for free. But they might mess it up. I don't know. Tammy says, my left arm from the wrist to the elbow is Eddie Izzard related. Ooh, now I'm intrigued. Like, tell me what it is exactly. And my left shoulder down is flowers and butterflies. And Full Meadow says, my most original piece is my haunted house morphing into a luchador mask. That's pretty cool. I wouldn't mind doing something like Disney Haunted Mansion related too. Like maybe something with like Madame Leota, like in the crystal ball or something. Man, when we were at Disney, like...
You remember that little toy?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Like, when we were at Disney with my family, like, a couple months ago, we went in the, Memento Mori, the little shop by the Haunted Mansion, and they had the coolest fucking, like, Madame Leota... It was like a...
It's a crystal ball.
Crystal ball, like, with her inside it, and it was just, man, it was
Came
so
in
cool.
a box, and it sat on a fucking table. It was like a little replica. It was small. I would say that the crystal ball was like the size of a ping pong ball. And her head was in it, and it would light up like a hologram. And she was actually talking, going through the whole thing.
So
and you
cool.
could see it moving in there. It was fucking. I was like, how did they do that?
It was so cool.
They wanted a lot for it. It was like $300 though.
Yeah, it was
box.
really nice. Like,
Came in a big fucking pretty fucking huge box, black box. You could open it up. I was like, what would you do with that though? You could just sit there and
I kind of wanted it though.
Yeah.
I was just
Yeah. Your tambourine and all that kind of shit. What was she saying? Something about you jingle your tambourine, and then she was going. She was calling off all the.
She says all the stuff that she says.
Yeah. Trying to get all the fucking musical instruments that were floating around to fucking sound off.
They had like a really cool like Haunted Mansion themed chess set too. Ooh, I really wanted that. That was like really cool. But they had like I went in there looking for, because I have a Madame Leota t-shirt, which I really liked, which I got there last time when I went with my sister on Halloween. And they didn't have a lot of t-shirts this time though, but they had like a lot of kind of figurines and like all that kind of stuff. And it's like, man, they had some really cool shit in there. But I was just kind of like I said, it's nice shit, but it's kind of expensive, obviously. So I was like, if I'd have cried enough, my mom probably would have bought it for me, but I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not 5 anymore. I really did want that chest set, and I really wanted that. Actually, the other one they had too was, didn't they have one of Constance Hatchaway? Didn't they have like a figure of her that was kind of like transparent?
I think so. Yeah,
and she had like the axe.
I don't remember much about
like
it.
She was kind of blue.
Yeah.
Like, that was pretty cool, too. Like, that was big. That was, like, I think that was, like, that big. And it might have been, I don't know what it was made of. All right. Do you want to wrap it up? It's past 11.
Yeah, I'm getting sleepy and I'm fucking drinking here.
You're drinking.
I'm hungry.
Are you really?
I got food here.
Okay.
Or we can go up to and get a sandwich.
It's up to you. I'm not super, super hungry.
I got a lot of fucking Thai food left.
I mean, that Thai food's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made me some massaman curry because
Oh,
I've been wanting some.
It's just
That's what I
good.
always get at the Thai restaurant.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to make some. So
Yeah.
last weekend, we went to the Asian
Yeah.
grocery store where we haven't been for a long time because it's kind of far from where we live now. It's a lot
Yeah.
closer to where we used to live.
It wasn't Asian, it's Middle Eastern.
Well, yeah.
They just, that's different for us, you know what I mean? Fucking in England, they call them Asia. We call it Middle East, but it was Middle Eastern market. And it's got a lot of, well, actually, no, it's Pakistani and Indian. I don't know if we call that the Middle East.
No, that's definitely
That's
Asia.
Asia. That's Asia, yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah, okay. Then you're right.
I know.
You're right. India, Pakistan. And, man, they have a lot of shit there, man. Fucking, a lot of good spices. Yeah. It's called Spice World.
Yeah.
That's the name of it.
Just like the Spice Girls.
Yeah, you can
movie.
get a huge bag of any kind of spice, turmeric or whatever, for $5, $8, a huge bag of it by the pound. You can get fucking naan bread. You could get all the fucking little curry mixes, from Shan, which is like a Pakistani company.
They
You
got a
can get
whole
them from-
aisle of those.
Yeah, you can get. They have an Indian brand there called fucking. What was the name of that brand?
I don't remember.
Continental? No, I forgot what it was called. Anyway,
National.
and but they also have Thai food.
Yeah, there's Thai in there too.
They got the Thai curry paste in the can. If you go to a regular Western grocery store, you can go into the Oriental section in your grocery store, and you can find these little fucking
Like a little jar.
Thai curry glass jars like that for like $6. No, this is like it's the same shit, but there's different flavors of it, and it's 3 times the amount in a fucking like a tin tuna can
Yeah, it's like the size of a
for like $3.
Yeah, it's like.
So don't buy that fucking gringo shit.
Well, if you have an Asian grocery store, go there.
Go to the fucking
For spices, it's a lot
go
cheaper.
find where they're selling Thai spices.
It's a lot cheaper. So we got like a bunch of cans of
Yeah,
that.
and their coconut milk was better.
Yeah, they got you.
That coconut milk
Although
was
they didn't have the powdered coconut
They
milk,
didn't have
or we couldn't find it.
They didn't have it, I don't think.
Because normally they would sell, because coconut milk is not cheap.
Yeah.
It's like $3 or $4 just for a can.
Yeah.
And but you kind of need that. But they used to sell a big box
Yeah, of
of
dry
powdered
powder.
coconut milk, and you just
Yeah.
mixed it with water, and it was just as good, and it was like
Kinda.
super cheap.
It was cheaper. It wasn't just as good.
Well,
It was good enough.
it was good enough. Like
Good
you didn't
enough.
really notice the difference. It was like a lot cheaper, but I don't see it this time.
That
Maybe they don't sell it anymore.
that Pakistani, it was either Pakistani or Indian coconut milk that came in that can. It was $3.99. Was better than the stuff that they have it. Better than the American brand stuff. It was thicker, richer. It was good.
Yeah,
That's where you want to get it. That brand. But so I made a massaman curry, which comes. It's yellow. The can.
so good.
Yeah. Ground up a bunch of peanuts and boiled them, fucking with bamboo shoots. Fucking potatoes, sliced potatoes from out in the garden. What else?
Onions.
Oh, onions,
Carrots,
carrots. Yeah.
Chicken.
What's that?
chicken.
Yeah, chicken. Yeah. I also got ginger garlic paste for later on when I'm gonna make some Indian food next
Okay.
time. Got that ginger garlic paste. But anyway, yeah, that's what you want.
That massaman curry is really
Yeah, with basmati rice. That's what I was making. Yeah,
We had a big.
I got a bunch of it downstairs.
We had a
man.
big
That shit is
bowl
so
of it
good.
yesterday, and we had a big bowl of it
That
today.
shit is so good.
He made a lot of it.
Let's go ahead and shut it down. I'll get us something to eat.
All right, yeah, it's getting kinda
Tomorrow
late.
we got to go to the club.
Going to the club tomorrow night,
Yeah.
so we'll see what kind of trouble we can get into.
Yeah.
Should be fun. It's
Oh
always,
yeah, it'll be fun.
it's
Everybody's gonna
always
be there.
fun. It's always fun.
Everybody's gonna be there.
Our Saturday nights.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you everybody for hanging out with us on this Friday night. Thank you for your super chats. We'll be back on Monday night. Not sure what we're gonna review yet. We might do Farscape. I don't know, or we might do a movie. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, so hopefully you guys have a good weekend, and we will see you guys again on Monday night. Good night.